welcome everybody to another episode of Mac Yak, episode number 27 tonight. And tonight we are going to be talking about WWDC.
Yeah.
But first, before we go on that, and this is something I told all these guys that I was going to surprise them with, we're going to have to remember what today is. Okay, a lot of people forget about what today is.
Yep.
June 6th, 1944 was what was Operation Overlord, which everyone else refers to as D-Day. So just put that in the back of your mind, because I'm a 20-year vet, so that's the reason why it really hits me in the heart here. So I just wanted to put that out there. I wanted to surprise these guys and not tell them I was going to say this, but hey, that's what I wanted to put out there. Anyways, guys, we got a good show for you tonight. We got Ken from Computer Clan.
That's me.
We have Michael from Michael MJD.
Hello.
You will not see his face. You will see a little bubble with the MM. It looks like a red M&M.
I will be the floating voice.
We're just going to call you the red M&M.
The red M&M. That's
better than green M&M, I guess.
And we should be getting Collin Mistr on here soon, also known as. Oh, he is here.
Here, yeah.
Okay. No, I don't see him. So
I see him in the bottom there, but
okay, so he's not popping up like Michael. But anyways, we have Collin Mistr, also known as dosdude1, who hopefully will be able to help us out later on in the broadcast here, because we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff tonight. One of the things we were going to talk about tonight, and it's pretty much going to be strictly WWDC, because that happened Monday morning. Ken did a video on it already.
The Mac Pro specifically.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys went and watched that. Go and watch his channel. That would be pretty good for him. Anyways, we're going to start off. First off, we're going to start in order of what the stuff showed up in the WWDC in the keynote. First off was Apple TV. Not a whole lot there. What do you guys think?
Multi-user is nice.
Yeah, I was
that is
multi-user.
That
Finally.
Of course, right when I move out and now I'm totally single, but timing.
It's that show they advertised actually looked kind of interesting.
Oh, the show, yeah. The what was it? The space race show or whatever.
Yeah, the alternate history.
I get into stuff like that, so I will probably watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably watch it too once I have it on Plex. I don't use iTunes or any of that. So the multiple user, dude, Plex has had that for years. Where have you been? So,
I just think it's nice that they're actually paying attention to the Apple TV a little bit for once. So.
Yeah, and by the way, shouldn't we be calling this DC?
No, do not.
Where's the ban button for Jay?
Yeah. What's his name? Luke Miani said that, and I was about ready to go.
Yeah. It is easier to say, though.
Or who was it that said that during the keynote?
I don't know. The guy with the giant grin.
Someone said it.
Yeah.
I thought it was Craig. Was it Craig?
No, it wasn't Craig.
No.
Oh, I forget which one. It was the one with the grin. It looked like the dude from what was the Italian Job? I can't remember his name. Seth Green.
I think I know who you're referring to. He was very, very excited.
He comes out and says that dub word, and I'm like, oh, really? You had to go there? Anyways, guys, so what more about the Apple TV do we dislike that came out for this new one? I mean, yeah, the multi-user thing is good. The new shows, I think, are going to be pretty good.
I think that like the PS4 and the Xbox controller support is pretty cool. That got a lot of people when they said that. People kind of went crazy in the audience.
Yeah,
I think that's going to help out the developers more than anything.
Yeah.
It's been such a switch since they were like, you could put games on the Apple TV, but you could only, have the default buttons be on the Apple remote, and you can't require a third-party controller. Now they're like, we're supporting third-party controllers. And then, we're supporting Microsoft and Sony controllers that you probably already own. So, I mean, that's good news in my book.
Well, I think it is, too, because I have played with that little, the touch remote, and it sucks.
It sucks for games.
It's not a controller. Yeah, it's a poor excuse.
They have a Apple licensed gaming controller, which I actually have one, and
you're the only person who does.
Pretty much.
It's kind of like a hybrid between an Xbox and a PlayStation controller.
It's not a Pippin, is it?
I was just going to say, just go with the Pippin.
Let me get a USB to ADB adapter here.
Okay. I didn't use it a whole lot because I just didn't quite like it, but it charges with lightning cable.
Ooh.
One more lightning cable I got to buy.
Or you can use the one you already have.
Yeah, I've got like tons of them. Every time I get a new iPhone, I don't even use them out of the box because I buy third-party ones because those break like constantly.
Yeah, even the official ones don't work too well for me.
All right. So, anything else on Apple TV before we move on? Or
I can't remember if there was anything else that they announced.
There wasn't really much.
I can't think of anything.
I think they spent like maybe 5 minutes. I think most of that was that trailer for that show that's coming on. So,
here it is. It's a Still Series controller. And as you can see, the nice layer of dust on the top of it.
I was going to say, dude, that thing needs some serious cleaning there.
That's usage dust.
I haven't used it in like 2 years.
Yeah.
It does use a lightning port.
Innovation.
Wow. Interesting.
Courage.
There's a piece of Apple hardware for you.
Yeah.
Don't lick it, Greg.
Yeah, don't lick it. You don't know what that thing's been under. All right, next up is the Apple Watch was the next thing up in the keynote. So, to me, I'm still running the Apple very first version of the watch that came out. So, basically, everything that they said in that doesn't apply to me because it ain't going to work.
Yeah.
But
the only thing I remember is that you can track your menstrual cycle, right?
Yeah. I was going to say that. They came out with you can track your menstrual cycle.
I need this.
Isn't there an app for that?
Well, they're going to have an app on iOS too.
I think the thing about that is now you don't have to have a third-party app, that you have to share between your Apple Health app and this. I mean, if you need that sort of thing and it's integrated, cool. If you're not going to use it, well, then I don't think any of us are going to personally use it.
I was going to say,
yeah, probably not.
Well, if you live in a house of women like I do, I might use it just to know when I can duck and run.
Staying out of this conversation.
Oh, man.
Well, another thing that I kind of watched, I rewatched it a little bit, but another thing on Apple Watch was the decibel meter thing that they had on there where you can actually hear how loud stuff is going to be.
That's pretty neat.
If it's going to hurt your hearing or not. It actually it tells you if it's, beyond the threshold of actually damaging your hearing.
It actually showed that being in the audience at a WWDC gets bad for your ears.
Well, it also showed that they had to actually get the audience to actually applaud because the lady actually went in there after they played the baseball thing saying, "Come on, guys," and she was like trying to get them to applaud.
Yeah, that was embarrassing.
Yeah.
That was a common thread with this whole keynote.
I was going to say, as a person that does a lot of presentations, that's a nervous habit. If you sometimes say something and the audience doesn't clap, but you want them to clap, it's like timing. Hey, isn't that great?
Oh, man.
I've done that. I'm guilty. I've done that.
I think there was also... There was all the thing I liked was the calculator. I mean, these are just tiny little things, but like the calculator, I think there was a dose app for pills, like to remind you about dosage of pills or something. That sounds interesting.
I don't know if I watched.
And then there was like the little tip calculator on the thing. Because I honestly, if I'm trying to calculate a tip, I use this old app on my phone that's riddled with ads, but it's like the one I've used since like the first iPhone, and it's just like I'm just used to using it.
Okay,
So
I never understand why somebody needs an app for tip calculating because I just calculated in my head.
Well,
You're smart. You're smart.
But here's the thing, though. Most restaurants you go to nowadays, when you get the bill, they have three different
Have you ever calculated that
Yeah.
yourself? Calculate it yourself. It's incorrect all the time.
That wasn't one of the benefits
Always
that
average it
you
off.
can split the tip between the amount of people you're with?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. That's
so like if you all get water or something, then you're going to split like a penny.
I could do a standard tip calculation in my head. I'm not going to split it between 5 people.
If you go out with
that makes
friends
sense.
and all you do is drink water, then you need different friends to go out.
I'm just saying. I was using that as an example. Okay, I'm not going to do that. But,
I don't know, Greg. We need to get you out more.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. But let's see, what else about the Apple Watch? Oh, the Pride band that matches the face now.
Oh, they did that before. Yeah. I have the same one. I mean,
it's different.
They just do it every year.
It's a new one.
I'm saying they do this every year. So there's a different thing, and you have a watch band.
My wife got one of those on her watch, so yeah.
Yeah, I just cleaned it, so it's no longer a nice shade of
Although
brown.
I should be disgraced right now. I'm actually wearing an Android watch. So.
Yeah, there you go.
But it has an Apple face on it. It has,
let me just call Apple's lawyers. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
Give me a strike on here, huh? So I think that was about it for the Apple Watch. There wasn't really a lot.
I don't remember much of it because I was just waiting for a very specific thing.
Oh yeah, you're waiting for the part that's coming soon, later on in our broadcast, even so.
Yeah,
but we're only limited to 2 hours. They went like 2.5 hours, I think, for the whole keynote, if I remember correctly. It was like, come on, get to the part we all want to see.
I'm glad I wasn't the only one feeling that. It felt like it was just very drawn out.
Hey, Collin.
Hey.
Yeah, I've been around. I just haven't been saying anything more.
See, now we have two floating blobs
We got two floating voices.
Yeah, we got the red M&M and the green M&M.
There you go.
If you look at the screen, it's almost like Pong. There's these balls that are floating.
It's the DVD screensaver.
To be honest with you, that's one of the things. That's one of the things I kind of wish FaceTime would not do on the Mac itself, because on the Mac I have all this screen real estate and you see all this blank area and stuff.
I'm getting more dizzy watching the stream.
Yeah, I wish I could take it and say, okay, I want to put this person here, and just leave them sitting still. I don't want them to move around.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if they're doing any updates to that.
In fact, I'm an Appleseed tester, of course, and we could put, feature requests, what they call, and I put that in so have a lot of other people, because they said the same thing. There's a lot of people saying that they don't like the floating, tiles or whatever.
I can't imagine if you're doing it with 20 plus people, it's going to drive you nuts.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, probably. I think if they put like an option,
it only puts 4 on the screen at once. The rest are all in the bottom corner.
Exactly. Yeah.
I guarantee you, it's going to be a Catalina special feature that you can only Catalina.
Yeah.
With Catalina Plus, there you go.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to try it on my MacBook Pro. I only have Catalina on my MacBook Pro right now, so I have to try that. Anyways, we're getting ahead of ourselves because that's later on in the show here. Okay, so we talked about Apple Watch. iOS 13 was next. Okay, what in iOS 13 do you guys think was the best takeaway from it, or the bad stuff?
I mean, I'm really happy they finally changed the volume HUD after what, like...
Oh, yeah.
That was... Jeez.
Yeah, why have it right in the middle of the screen?
Yeah, that was... Finally, I mean...
I thought they were going to change that last year. They made a fuss about it, and nothing changed.
No.
I'm excited that iOS 12 already runs so well, in my opinion, on older devices like the 6S and the SE. It runs really well, and for them to say that iOS 13 is going to even be twice as responsive for the same devices.
What they said too is that it's 60% smaller code. Yeah. That's what they said in the keynote. 60% smaller. I was like, whoa, really?
Yeah.
So they finally cleaned up their code. I mean, it took them long enough. They're pulling a Microsoft there for a while.
And that app downloads are going to be even smaller because of the new code.
I don't know.
I don't buy that at all.
After the bad sales they had, blaming it on battery repairs and stuff, I figured too many people with old phones are upgrading. We're going to cut out everything but the 10 and up. But luckily they didn't.
Mm-hmm. No.
Yeah, I think probably part of that is due to all these Apple Plus services they're trying to sell. They probably are going to have a lot of iOS 13 exclusive functionality, maybe, or maybe they don't want to, lose the potential revenue from those sales. But Yeah, I'm happy it's going to run the same devices. I have an iPhone 6 and an 8, so I can't run 13 on the 6 anyway, but it's nice to know that compatibility is still there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best feature, one that they absolutely did first before anybody else, no one had this feature at all before Apple, was quick path typing.
Oh, yeah. That took some courage, guys.
You mean the Swift keyboard?
I never used that
actually.
I didn't either.
It's an App Store download. It says Swift keyboard.
I was gonna say, it's a third-party option, yeah, and I used that for a while.
I used it the second it came out as a third-party option for about 2 days. It just got too annoying.
I've never been able to successfully use it.
Yeah, I've never liked it because I'm sitting there like, okay, over here. I'm like, it takes me longer to swipe than it does just go, you know.
Exactly.
I mean, it's nice to have the option there, but yeah, I think the crowd cheering over that. It's like, okay.
Well, I think
that was a little like.
Yeah, I think for teenagers and kids that like that feature because they're like fast as hell texting anyways, you know. I think that's more for them than us adults.
Sure. The one thing I did like. Oh, I'm sorry, Rocky. Go on.
No, you're fine.
The one thing, I mean, I don't have anything that would use this yet, but the HomeKit stuff that they were going on about with the iCloud storage space and things like that, I mean, that's kind of interesting to me because, you know, I don't have a compatible security camera yet, but all these other companies like Amazon or whatever, when you buy their security camera or Nest, you can't, like, really use your own storage with a lot of them. You have to subscribe to their own, like, $10 a month services or whatever. So it would be interesting, theoretically, if these new cameras are now HomeKit compatible, and instead of paying Amazon $10 a month, if you're already paying for iCloud, you know, you could just have that, you know, data on your cloud, which, you know, maybe it's a bit more secure than other companies or whatever, but it's all tied in. That's kind of nice. I mean, like I said, I don't have anything that would use that, but it's nice to know that you're looking into that area because I felt like HomeKit was pretty much, hey, it's this new thing, and oh yeah, that's about it, you know. So
well, I don't pay for iCloud, but if they make it a feature in Catalina server app that you can use your own storage and your own server to store that kind of stuff, I'll be very interested.
I'd be very surprised if they ever actually paid any more attention to the server app of macOS. But.
I know.
Well, you know, not to run ahead, but there was imagery of a rack mount. So, you know, if you're going to turn it into a server, you might as well make some good servers.
I would sure hope so. I'm not saying they wouldn't. I'm just skeptical.
I'm with Steve on that one.
Yeah. A couple other things they talked about on iOS 13 is compatibility device. We already talked about that. Allow for just once for location. What's trying to figure out?
I think that's a good feature.
The privacy enhancements, I dig them. I think I would like using that.
I think like the whole sign in with Apple thing where where you can have the option like to shield your email.
Stuck the middle finger to Google and Facebook.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they did. They basically. Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh!
The one thing that I was rewatching the keynote today because I was trying to take some more notes and everything and some stuff to talk about. But one of the things that kind of caught my eye was the location with Bluetooth when your device is off.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's cool.
Well, yes and no, because the way they explained it is that if your device is off, that any other person's device could ping it with Bluetooth.
Yeah,
and that's kind of like a security issue there for me.
The Bluetooth antenna is on then all the time, is what that means.
That's what it's saying.
But
I'm not,
you know,
I'm not too psyched about that one.
Yeah, that's why I'm with Collin on that.
I'm not psyched about it at all.
I was texting Collin when it was live, and we were talking about that, and I said, you know, the Bluetooth score caused a lot of battery drain issues, and it's going to be a huge security thing. Even if they say it's not exploitable, it probably will be.
Well, they said it's anonymous data, and it's not anything, but you know, companies have said this before in the past. Even, you know, and I'm sorry, Apple is probably the best one of keeping our data safe, but I still don't trust them 100%. You know,
well, the thing is, if you design basically your Mac or iPhone, from what I understand, is going to be able to create a small mesh network on the fly using Bluetooth. And if someone can piggyback on that, you got an Apple-made botnet ready to go. And
Yeah, I know.
I don't know.
Well, I'm interested in the concept of it only for the fact of the scenario they gave, which is you have a laptop that's essentially offline. Someone takes it, and you could potentially track it. Now, I think
it's a good idea.
I think
but
that's the only scenario that's sellable, because if they would have described this in any other way, I would have been like, "The hell do I need that for?"
No, I'm
but how does the Mac know that it's been
hold
stolen?
on. Well, and here's the thing that to kind of allude to that a little bit, and let me go into some parts where I have a lot of issues with this. Your car, if you've got the tight, pressure sensor monitors, they kick off Bluetooth signals. Your vehicle probably has a Bluetooth it's giving off. Your phone gives off Bluetooth, everything else. If you're a person who wants to keep yourself from being hidden and tracked, because guess what? In major cities, they do have centralized things up in the towers that are actually tracking Bluetooth devices and where they are in the city. Every time that those devices are sitting there spitting out their information, because that's what they do, they spam it constantly, that MAC address information is being stored on those, whether it be government, local, whatever, company, whatever, because it's always trying to talk to everything Bluetooth out there. It's just spamming its signal. So you start having a phone or a Mac that is now spamming its Bluetooth signal when it's even off. If you're one of those kind of people that are like, well, excuse me, I need to go dark for a moment, or maybe I don't want to be tracked for just a second for whatever reason, whether it be valid or invalid. If you don't shove it in something that completely hides it, you can't turn it off. And you're giving your location all the time.
Yeah, I think there will be a way to turn it off, though. I don't think this is going to be a feature that's going to be on 100%. They're not going to be able to sell this to schools or government agencies if that's the case. I think this will be tied into iCloud or something like that somehow. Now, I'm not saying that I agree with its implementation, or I say that it's 100% security foolproof, because it's not. All I'm saying is I think it's an interesting concept. I have no idea how it's going to be actually implemented, and it would not surprise me if this is a thing they tease, just like the Fast Boot Camp reboot that they did years ago, and we never see it again. So, it's interesting to me. I'd like to know more about it. I have no machine that would probably support it, so that's to me. I'm not going to be able to use it anyway. But I mean, I think it's similar to sort of like, there's a lot of Bluetooth tracking apps and adapters and things like that. I don't know. Well, I have to learn more about this before I know about it further. I just thought it was interesting, but like I said, I don't think if they were to have teased this or marketed this in a different way of, hey, you can do this, I see no other use case for it.
No. That's I'm just concerned that when you go to iCloud.com and you mark your Mac as lost or stolen, your Mac periodically checks with the Apple servers. If it sees, hey, I've been marked as stolen, it goes into lockdown with the password and all that. That's cool. It only pings it over the internet. Now it's going to be sending out those Bluetooth pings constantly. Because how else are you going to let your Mac know that it's been stolen? It's going to have to assume that it's always needing to ping its location.
And like Jay just said, it's basically a big Apple mesh network now of everybody's devices, that all it takes is one rogue person to hack it, and guess what? Boom, they got everything. Well, whatever the market share of Apple is right now.
I'm just hoping that it's going to be an optional, I can just shut it off.
I hope so too. I really hope so. I haven't dug into it a lot in Catalina yet, but I will look at that. And when the iOS 13 beta comes out and I get it installed, I will look at that as well. So,
I do like. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, it's going to be enabled by default, just like all that stuff is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which is so annoying.
Yep.
And when I leave the house, and I've been doing it so long, it's I don't even realize I do it anymore. When I leave the house, I go to settings, physically toggle off Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Whenever I leave the house, I turn that stuff off.
Yep.
So if it's not optional, then those toggles are not going to do anything. Not really.
Yep.
True.
Unless you put it in airplane mode, but then you can't use it as a phone.
Yeah, but what if a thief does that?
Well, a thief is usually going to turn off the phone completely before he gets it home, and then he'll probably I don't know how they're going to do it, but basically
you probably have to enter in your password before you turn it on and off. Just like Find My iPhone, you can't turn that on and off without a password.
Yeah.
I could see that maybe.
They need to do something like that.
I think that the cooler feature is Memoji, right, guys? Right?
Oh yeah.
I can't even use it.
That demo was the most awful, most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
That was painful.
You're just not into fashion.
Oh my god.
We're just not influencers enough to understand their plight.
How about the new and improved Apple Maps?
I have to see more of that. But
Google has been doing for how long?
It's
Street View.
It's basically a Google Maps clone again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, look how. One of their things was, look how smooth. That was their keyword, smooth.
You know what? If they want to, I'm all for having Apple alternatives. That's
yes, it was. I got to agree with Ken.
Yeah, I mean, if you give me a better alternative to Google, or you at least I see you're trying. I use Apple Maps once in a while. I mean, it's probably not the best in some respects, but it's nice to know that they're improving it, especially the debacle that came out when they first started and it fell flat on its face.
True, and I still use Waze though, so that's just my preferred.
Yeah, I use Waze while driving, but like for looking up something, if it defaults to Apple Maps, I'm not going to throw it in a fire. Not anymore.
I've noticed. Well, with some talk about the maps, I've noticed that I use Apple Maps and Google Maps, and I bounce back and forth. And they're pretty one-to-one in what they show and their, street routing. Actually, I kind of like the way that Apple Maps routes me to a location more than the Google Maps, but, it's a preference.
Yeah, I use it all the time.
Are you feeling okay, Rocky?
Why?
Blink twice.
You prefer an Apple product or service?
You butthead.
No, he wants to use Bing Maps. Never mind.
Oh, God, no. Dear God, no. What is
MapQuest? Hello? Print them off, put them in your car.
Oh, gosh.
Let me turn on my dot matrix printer. Hold on.
The only good thing about Apple Maps now is it probably won't drive you into a pond now. Or a lake or something like that.
I'll take your word for it.
Okay, but I hate to say this, but if you were stupid enough to actually drive into a lake or off a cliff, then you don't need to be driving in the first place.
There was one time where Apple Maps told me to take a right turn off of an overpass to get on the road that was below it.
Oh my god!
I had my Garmin GPS maps tell me to make a right turn right into a highway divider that was about 8 feet tall. So
the question is, Collin, did you do it?
No, I did not. Of course not.
Okay, so this is a mini Apple Maps story. Once you're done, I got one.
Go on.
Oh, go for it.
Right. So this is a problem sometimes when you look for a business and maybe the business is closed and it's not updated on Apple Maps. So it's like I'm in Pittsburgh. It's like 3 years ago. It's getting pitch black. We need fuel for our car. So it's like 5 guys in a car. I route to a gas station and we get into like this very ghetto area. There's like no street lights. There is no gas station.
I've had that happen before in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and it's like, you have arrived, and one guy was like, dude, we're in the ghetto. And I'm just like, I hope we're not in the ghetto. And then he points to an M&M vending machine, which is the only light for the entire street. And he's like, dude, there's an M&M machine outside. We're in the ghetto. Oh, my gosh.
I'm probably in the same area in the middle of the night.
Yeah, shoot. I wonder if that, Pittsburgh, dead zone, whatever.
I am looking forward to seeing what this enhanced search will be for iMessage.
Dude. Yeah.
It sucks right now, and whatever they could do to enhance that, I would love to know.
Oh, no joke. Because trying to go back and try to find a text or something that you needed.
Oh, I do it all the time. I'm scrolling for like a half hour, and then somebody texts me, and it jumps to the beginning. I'm like, no! I just loaded all my cloud history from the last year, and now I have to load that again because nothing is cached on the damn phone.
Well, that's what you did a few days ago. Like, I sent you guys a listing for a
exactly
CPU tray, So I go to search and I type in CPU tray. Of course, I get the one you said, CPU tray, 5 seconds ago, and nothing else.
Yep.
There's no click here to jump to the previous search or anything like that. So I hope they did a lot of work on that.
Oh, yeah, I hope so too.
I saw a screenshot that was like it organized something by like images and links, but I'm hoping there's much more of a context search there, because like I want to see what Jay said like 5 weeks ago. You know, I want to have like the photos level of search in messages. We'll see if that works.
Yeah. All right. A couple other things in iOS 13. Dark mode.
No.
Of course.
Yes, please.
Finally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Me
too, actually.
I don't understand it. People lose their crap over dark mode, and I never use it on Mojave.
Okay, a couple of reasons why dark mode is good for iOS devices. One, you're going to save a ton of battery, especially with the OLEDs, because they don't light up, those specific areas. Second thing is that when you're at night in bed or whatever looking at it, you don't have that bright ass light looking you in the face, and you're like,
I don't have that either way. You go to the accessibility, you invert the colors, and you're done. You got dark mode.
I've been doing that since iOS 3.
The thing is, guys, you did notice something about dark mode, right? All the freaking icons are the same.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
Oh, man.
Piercing white icons on a dark interface. Yes, dark mode.
Dark mode, but we're not going to change the icons.
Well,
Speaking of that, I read an article, and this is getting ahead a little bit because of that. In Catalina, there is no way to edit icons anymore.
Yeah, on the get info screen, they locked it down.
Yeah. So basically, Apple is saying you're going to use these icons and you're going to like it.
Something that existed since System 5 or 6.
You can always just make your own ICNS file and put it in there.
Nope, not anymore. Not anymore.
No,
they locked that
you
down.
can. It's in the resources. It'll always be there. So.
Well, no. There's an article that came out that somebody's trying to do that, and it's locked down now.
Because you got to rebuild. You got to rebuild UI. Whatever Windows Server caches those icons.
Yeah, but no one's going to do that, Collin.
Yeah.
Nobody except you. Let's be clear on that.
Yeah, Collin is going to do it, then he's going to turn it into a script, and then we're going to do it.
Yeah. All right, last thing on iOS before we move on here. Time sync lyrics.
The stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Time sync lyrics? What?
That was on the Apple TV, too, wasn't it? Didn't they?
No, I don't know if it was or not, but...
I think so, yeah.
But anyways, what time sync lyrics is, Rocky, is basically when you're listening to a song, it's like a karaoke machine now, pretty much on your phone.
So I could throw out my Laserdisc karaoke player. Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much, yeah.
This goes back to
it's worth at least 4 mentions throughout the keynote. Time sync lyrics. Okay, cool. So
I remember. Maybe I'm the only one that remembers this, but years ago, some kid in school wrote a letter to Apple suggesting that lyrics are displayed either on an iPod or an iPhone while the song was being played. And the result of that was a cease and desist, like, legal letter from Apple, just some cookie cutter letter they send out, like, we do not, accept solicitations for features or whatever. And it got a bunch of news coverage because this poor kid, like, got the long, arm of Apple's legal team. And, it's just funny that eventually now we have something like that. I mean, yeah, lyrics were on some of the early iPhones, but it's I don't know. It just made me think of that and I laughed.
In their defense, I mean, they need to keep those idiots out of there because you're going to get that one guy who now wants royalties. Oh, you used my idea. Ooh. So,
yeah.
I had lyrics on my 3rd gen iPod. you could put text files with the MP3s and it would show the lyrics.
Yep.
I booted up my Mini. Yeah, not in real time. You have to. It's in real time if you.
I was scrolling.
Yeah, you got to scroll.
They should have had Craig on stage going, "You no longer have to scroll." That would have sold it for me.
Oh yeah.
You want to listen to my Mini right now?
Yeah, I just got the big
Oh god, iPod Mini, man.
Crazy Ken episode Mini.
Wait, I need an SD card slot to I'm sorry, memory stick to load some MP3s on here. Hold on.
Okay, all right, we're going to move on to the next one is iPadOS. Since now what they're doing, Apple did, is they split off iOS 13 and iPad iOS now. So basically, you have iOS for phones and iPadOS for iPads.
Mm-hmm.
But the cool thing about this one is that the iPadOS, from what I've seen so far in the demo, was it's getting closer to being a desktop. It's basically the bridge between the phone and the desktop now. So
I
you
think
have
they made the right call.
One point I want to make on that is, if you're going as far as to do that, just implement a real windowing system. Because the one they implemented is absolute garbage. The different spaces and all on the iPad is just cumbersome as heck to use.
It's
just based on that demo.
It's still the same old iOS for iPad, really.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's just got some new features. For instance, the slide out and everything.
Like,
However,
just like anything else that's first generation, this is gonna suck probably. But I think they made the right call, because the iPhone and the iPod was holding back what something much more powerful hardware like the iPad can do. So I think they made the right call to split it off.
Yeah, I think eventually you're going to see a divergence of iPad-only apps, kind of like what happened when the first iPad came out, where there were apps that were only for the iPad.
Yeah.
And, maybe it's because of this, Catalyst technology or whatever. Maybe there's going to be some iPad exclusive stuff, which I see both good and bad about, because what's going to suck is, let's say the iPhone gets USB-C eventually, and the iPad has some sweet USB-C functionality for flash disks or something like that. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's in the iPadOS. That's not in the iOS. You can't have that unless you buy a $2,400 iPad Pro or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, now you have it for.
But now the one cool thing I like about the new iPadOS is the ability to take a flash drive and stick it in there and transfer files now back and forth like a regular file system.
Yeah, if you have a
I think that's
USB-C
really nice.
iPad.
Huh? Well,
is it USB-C only, or
no? It should be. Well, you're going to need a dongle probably, because guess what? There ain't too many USB-C flash drives out there yet. I've
that's
seen
what I'm saying.
But
If it was like universal support for Lightning and USB-C, all right, that's pretty cool. But
there is a USB. I know that there's a Lightning to USB adapter already that Apple already sells. So that's probably
and some flash drive manufacturers also have a Lightning end of it. I mean, I'm just it's fine, it's cool. I'm just jealous that you can't have that functionality on an iPhone. How many years did it take them to get the camera connector kit to be compatible with the iPhone? I mean, ridiculous.
I agree with you. I totally agree. That should have the same features on the iPhone as far as pulling files off.
That's the only thing that I'm concerned about is iPadOS will be an excuse to separate these features that very well could be on the iPhone, but they're like, we want you to buy this.
Well, yeah, because here's a prime example of reason why I think it should be on an iPhone too. Because if you use your iPhone to take a lot of video and pictures and stuff, and you want to move them quickly, or if you run out of space, you're on a vacation, you run out of space, you put a bunch of them on a flash drive, you toss it away, to the side and stuff, and you can take some more pictures. Well,
Apple doesn't want you to do that because they want you to pay for the highest capacity iPhone and the highest capacity iCloud storage,
bingo.
tier.
Yep.
So, unfortunately, Greg, we're going to have to give you a no on that.
Why you buy one of those third-party drives that you just plug right in and open up an app and then transfer all over.
Well, I think what's nice is now that the support is built into the OS, hopefully the iOS as well, is that those apps no longer have to be updated and maintained with their quirkiness. Because I used one before that crashed every time I tried to load a file it did not understand. And what the heck is the point of having USB drive support if you don't have compatibility with all?
I think someone I think it was on the Discord chat where we were all watching this live. Someone made a comment. Said, "Oh, great! What did he say? Oh, now you can store all your files that you're unable to open because you never have the right app to open the file you want." And he has a point. Like, I had to hunt for months to find an app that could look inside of zip files, because I get those a lot through my email, and then unpacking them and trying to store them in iCloud Drive, it's a nightmare.
Really?
Huh?
That's what jailbreaking was for.
I didn't even have to use jailbreak. There was an unzipper that was released by, I believe, Trend Micro that I used for a long time on my phone. I still use it.
Yeah, but jailbreaking was the first way you could do it.
Like I would love if I have an iPad and I could put in one, let's say modest 512 SSD that's full of movie files, and I can just play an MKV on VLC like nothing else. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
But it's probably not going to happen.
No, because like Steve said, they want you to buy iCloud storage.
Yeah.
Prove me wrong, Apple. Prove me wrong.
They won't.
Yeah, I'm sure they're watching.
All right.
Cook's taking notes.
Yeah, right.
All right, so we're going to lose Ken here in about probably 20 minutes or so. So we're going to go ahead and get into our next part.
Ken? Why?
Well, it depends. I might stick around. I mean,
depends on how much he loves us.
Honestly, no, I love you guys, but like I woke up this morning to a small flood in my kitchen, and my whole day has been shuffled.
It's only a small flood.
It's only a small flood.
It's only
It's not on camera, so we don't see it.
But the funny thing is,
it's outside of the studio.
It's outside of the studio, but here's the stupid thing. It's because of the studio this happened. I'm just going to share the story because I'm already in it. So my fridge is 20 years old. It's kind of loud. I have to, turn the temperature down so the fan and the compressor turn off when I'm filming. Forgot to turn it back on. So overnight, all the food in the fridge compartment goes bad. The ice in the freezer melts and pours out. The frozen stuff is still frozen, so I save that. But I wake up to it like pouring a little waterfall out onto my kitchen. So yeah, my day was a little messed up.
No, I thought it was. I thought it was an easy out. Like people that go on a date and tell their friends, "Call me in 20 minutes in case it's a disaster." You were like, "I might leave after an hour," but
your fridge is going to start sparking and exploding.
But the next thing is probably the one we're going to talk about the most tonight. Is the Mac Pro.
Oh, shit.
Dude, hot topic.
I was shivering from excitement.
I think we all were.
Yeah, it's the first innovative product Apple has released in quite a while.
Except for the handles.
No.
The handles grew on me. The feet, I cannot get over the feet. That is so ugly.
The way I described
it looks like a moon lander. With the feet.
Like a lens. Yeah.
But you can get wheels for
it. It's so beautifully ugly.
You've been hanging out with Johnny Ive.
I think it'll look maybe a little better in person. It looks way too clean. Like from a render. Maybe that's just what's throwing me off. There's like an uncanniness to it.
The biggest question I have about that, the way the holes are the vent. What do you call them?
3D vent loops?
No, the Ventiports.
Oh yeah, the Ventiports.
Ken found out that somebody said that's what they're called supposedly. Anyways, has anybody seen how thick is that aluminum on the case?
It's pretty thick.
Because it looks thick.
Well, they have to keep the rigidity of the case.
Yeah, but
it's got a frame in it, Jay.
Yeah, there's a frame in
it. A really cheap-looking IKEA shelf.
Yeah, that frame on its own is not going to do anything.
Dirty.
How awesome would it be if they didn't do the proper testing and you really start laying into Final Cut Pro, you got 2 of those Vega Duo cards in it and the frame melts or something.
That's
a feature, Jay. That's a feature.
Yeah, right? Like the handles suddenly start leaking into your case. Like, what's going on?
When it needs more, more air to breathe, the aluminum just melts, and it just like you get a notification on macOS being like "Vex mode enabled."
Well, see here's a perfect example. If you need melted cheese, you grate it on the front, and it comes out the back melted.
Don't give people ideas.
Now, I don't want to waste too much time on this, but I do want to say it. The price is fine, people.
Yes.
Stop it. Yep. It's a pro machine. It is more pro than any Mac Pro that came before it, and it's worth it to the professionals.
Well,
here's from a guy that works in pro video.
Yeah. Here's the thing, too, is that if you look at what Apple produced before, before the Mac Pro even came out back in the day, okay, the LC2, I think, was like, what, $10,000 or something like that?
No,
or whatever it was.
They're talking about
like 950. Yeah,
Macintosh 2. Yeah. But anyways, it was expensive as crap too.
It was $5,500.
But in that day's money, that's probably around what, $10,000 in today's money or whatever. I don't know.
It was pricey for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So $6,000 for that entry level is not too bad, if you ask me.
No, I gotta see the performance.
Just to piggyback on that, $5,500 in $1987, which was what the Macintosh 2 costs, is equivalent to $12,157 with inflation in 2018.
Yeah.
But how much were equivalent Pro machines in the PC and et cetera markets?
Okay, here's the thing.
There's blowing everything out.
There's one that everybody's been talking about, the HP 8Z or something like that. I can't remember which. It's a Hewlett Packard machine. That thing goes for, I think they said about $12,000 or something like that, and it's the most equivalent one right now. And I think, Ken, you were saying something about the memory upgrade on that.
Yeah, so on one of my videos, someone pointed out that that HP workstation or whatever could actually go up to 3 terabytes of RAM. And I looked up what the upgrade costs, and I don't remember if it was the 1.5 or the 3, but one of them by itself, just for the RAM, cost $60,000. I think that was for 1.5. So 3 was probably $120,000 for that HP system.
Well, I mean, I think we priced out the RAM for this one. I mean, at 1.5 terabytes, the cheapest RAM I could find out there, 128 gigabyte sticks, ECC, the good, $1,500 a stick. Okay, that's the low end right there. So that's
because I went to websites like Dell and HP, and they price it out spaced over 24 modules.
Yeah,
we're going to be paying for 128 gigabyte modules
over 12. So that's basically $18,000 just to max out a Mac Pro. I mean, that's one cost.
Faster.
That's just
but the bragging rights of having the RAM maxed out is well worth it.
Yeah.
I will tell you
it's maxed out. When this thing look great,
when this thing becomes available, someone shows up in one of our beloved Facebook groups and says, "I got one." 28 core, 1.5 terabyte of RAM, every possible add-on you can get. I will do a slow clap, absolutely, because that is like impressive.
Like, dude, you got money to burn.
Yeah,
can I have some?
Burn some my way.
I do want to see the performance numbers, though. That's when I will make a judgment on the price.
And I agree there.
I'm not going to judge it till I see how it performs on the base model.
Okay, we're talking about that right now. The specs for the base model, okay? 8-core CPU with, I think it's, 32 gigs of memory? I can't remember exactly what the base, but it's also, and it's 256 gigabyte SSD.
SSDs.
And a 580, is it a 580?
580X.
Yeah, video card. So basically, that is a little low, but
it's being stomped on by the iMac Pro.
No. But it's a base level.
That's not the point. You're not buying a base config. You're buying 20 years of upgrades possibilities. Yes. That's what you're paying for.
Okay, but here's the thing I've been telling some people, and I told these guys too, is look at the actual new logic board that they put in there. They have the MBX or MPX slots in there, okay? That is something totally new, and a lot of R&D went into that to get those to work. And they had to
you're paying for the R&D tax.
Exactly. Okay. But there's a lot of new stuff in there. And you know what? A lot of these graphic card manufacturers are probably going to start taking advantage of that MPX slot if it does what Apple says it does.
To go off topic slightly, if the rumors about Catalina are right, and there will be open API access, that means NVIDIA is back in the game. And if they can make a card that uses that MPX slot, whoa, everybody's happy.
Exactly.
You know?
And you're going to get competition, which is going to drive prices down. So that's a good thing.
And I don't know if anyone has noticed, but it has 2 SATA ports and some kind of 10-pin in there.
And a USB port.
So, and it turns out that is for a Pegasus expansion chassis. Apple has been working with Pegasus that holds 2 3.5-inch hard drives. So you can put hard drives in the Mac Pro.
Yeah. 2 of them, but still.
Hey, better than 0.
So,
yeah.
And
I think
these days you may as well go all solid state, unless it's like a NAS or something.
Yeah.
You
just put a SATA cable through the cheese grater hole and run it to whatever.
No. You buy me a 12 terabyte solid state on a single drive, and we'll talk. Until then, I'll use traditional 3.5-inch spinners.
I mean, I edit off mechanical discs.
I do too, actually. So
it's a
I
RAID
have
0.
no choice. That's all I could afford.
It's RAID 0. It's almost 400 megabytes a second. That's good enough for me.
Oh, we need our hard drives.
Yeah,
I don't really have the
mine's a combo.
production quality to do any editing. I just import it and push it to YouTube, but I don't need it.
Yeah.
But
Now,
I think once the initial shock of the pricing and all that stuff, I had a few days to think on it, and I think Apple delivered on all their promises, and
Yes,
the pricing is fair.
I
The
agree.
feet are hideous, but the rest is cool.
You know what you do, Jay? You get you a Dremel tool and you cut them suckers
I was
off.
going to say,
I would.
take them right off. I do
would.
like that they kind of did a hybrid of the G4 Cube and the Trashcan Mac Pro, where the case just slides off and you have easy 360 access to everything, no tools or anything. Very nice.
yeah, I think that's definitely really nice.
That's a very Apple thing. I appreciate.
Well, it's better than any PC out there. Better than any PC out there to get access to.
I mean, any PC I'll say any PC I've seen. I don't know about every single case, but every PC I've seen, it's always like one panel. Okay, now I got to work around. I got to unscrew the backside. It's just
or the power supply is over something.
Yep, right, exactly. This is just turn, lift.
Yeah, I do like that, and you're paying a hefty tax for the design of it and the expandability of it, and like this ain't for you and me. It's for the professionals that their companies could write this off as a business, expense.
Yeah. Well, and Steve,
and
that's
of them,
And Steve, that's one of the things in some of the groups, the Facebook groups, people have been complaining about and bitching about is, where's the one that for us? I'm like, they have an iMac Pro.
Yeah, I mean, or even
iMacs. Okay, they've got mid-level machines out there. These are designed for high-level pros. They weren't designed for you and me.
The vast majority of people complaining about it are just salty because they will never afford it.
Remember this.
Me included. I will never afford one of those things brand new. I have to wait until it comes through my job used with liquid damage and dog poop on it, and then I could probably buy it at a discount.
Remember, the classic Mac Pros, when they came out, they were expensive. People didn't buy them until they were on the used market. The people who have them now probably got them second or third hand.
Well, the Power Mac G5 was $2,000 when it first came out in 2003. The Mac Pro came out at $2,200 when that came out in 2006. So, there is a price shift. These are more expensive machines, but holy crap, look at the specs and the capabilities of these things.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The G5 and the original Mac Pro were great in their time, but this machine I think is actually, if the specs are to be believed, and if it could do whatever they're touting it to do, and yes, you're paying all the R&D tax, I think you're getting a pretty good, solid deal here for
and you're getting a machine that's going to last at least 15, maybe even 20 years. I mean,
I would hope so,
because to be honest with you, I think it will last that long, because look at all the expandability and look at how far up you can go on this thing. I mean,
and I was worried
properly
that you saw that in the previous Mac Yaks where we discussed what they would do, or what we thought they would do. Is like, okay, it's going to be modular. There's no escaping that it's going to have to be modular, but it's going to be proprietary modules. And that's
we were
not
wrong.
The case. That's not the case. Yeah,
I'm glad I was wrong.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That Vega 2 Duo looks very impressive by the numbers. But if I can't afford that, which I can't, then I can just put my old card in there or any other card I want, and it just won't use that APX slot. What was it? MPX. And you got 8. Well, technically you got 7 PCI slots.
Yeah,
4 of them are by 16. 4 of them.
And Apple actually put in, guess what? Extra power connectors for you to put those cards in.
Yes, they did.
Which, I mean, when was the last time that Apple did that? I mean,
exactly,
And when was the last time?
5, 1, 4, 1.
Yeah. When was the last time Apple actually touted the power supply of their machine? I mean, that was...
That was unexpected.
Yeah, let's talk about that. 1,400 watts of power.
1.4 kilowatts.
And it's all on the bottom down there. It's like a little small sliver, and it's out of the way.
It's like
Can't really see it. Yeah, it's nice.
I can't wait for the recall on that.
Oh no! Don't jinx it.
Oh man,
if you look at it's only 600 watts more than what we currently have in our Mac Pros.
Yeah.
So I mean, everybody watching this, by the way, go over to my website really quick, the House of Moth, do a search for Pixelos mod, because come this fall you won't need it anymore, and I kind of need the views. So head on before that happens. But yeah, I'm looking forward to doing a Pixelos mod on that thing, which we probably will have to in, I don't know, 10, 15 years.
When a video card has to take about 1,500 watts of power.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, I would comfortably say that the machine would last at least 10 years. I mean, if we look at the 2009 Mac Pro, and people are still using that today, I don't know if 20 years. And the reason I'm saying 20 years may be a bit of a stretch is Apple's OS has never support their machines for too long. So
yeah. Well, I'm hopeful when it comes to the CPU as well, because it's a new socket, new form factor CPU. We should be able to upgrade for a long time.
But Steve, we have people like Collin in here that keep us going.
Yeah, which is greatly appreciated. I'm just saying official support from Apple. That's all I'm saying. I think 10 years is reasonable and a heck of a standard in today's day and age of computing. I mean, every 6 months something is outdated.
Yeah. By the way, Brock just said in the chat, NVIDIA emailed me stating they are working on a GPU for the Mac Pro. It's going to be ready in the first quarter of 2020.
See, this is what is exciting about the Mac again. Now this is exciting. Nothing's soldered in anymore.
I don't really care about NVIDIA much, because all I do is nothing.
AMD.
But
he's an AMD guy.
There's a lot of people that are really itching for NVIDIA to come back. So
hell yeah.
I do have to say, I'm glad they emphasize something that I always love it when they emphasize how quiet the damn thing is. It's quiet. It's quieter than an iMac Pro, and that thing is already very fucking quiet. Pardon my French. What's the swearing rule here?
You already broke it.
Too late.
3 fans, 3 impellers, and a blower, and the thing is like, 14 decibels, 12 decibels under a desk? That's
I haven't seen a single video or anything about it yet. I just know that personally I would go in it with something like TG Pro or Max Fan Control and play with it anyway.
Turn that thing into a jet engine.
Yeah.
I can see the videos now. The cooling power and sound compared to a G5.
If you know what's funny on that thing, do you think it could blow hard enough to actually roll itself?
That would be
That's a good video. Make that.
Hey, you have a skateboard for your Pro. You should try that with your Pro.
Okay, guys, let's do a Kickstarter. If we can raise $6,000, we'll buy one. Just see if the fans will blow it on the wheel. Oh wait, we need $7,000 probably.
And Ken can film the video for a crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
The wheels are another 1,000.
I'm going to Kickstarter right now.
Then we'll return it. We'll return it then, pay the restocking fee, and then pocket the profit.
Yeah. You're not supposed to say that part out loud.
Oh shit!
And we can take it one step further. We could take that thing on the highway, see how long we could drive it. Follow cars with a generator in it.
Have a really long extension cord going out the back.
No, you have a generator. You have a generator in your lap.
Oh yeah, we could do that.
I'm excited now.
Oh man, we're getting like really bad here, but
I can bring us back into another feature that's great because I did not expect this.
No, one of the things I was going to talk about was the computer I'm actually streaming this on right now is an iMac 2017. Okay, and I max the fans out when I start broadcasting only because I'm using the graphics card to do the major heavy lifting on the encoding. So, but I max out. But I mean, I'm running at 61 degrees Celsius right now, which is good for this. But like Ken said, I like it being quiet. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that Apple thought about that. That's one of Apple's things I really like is I like to try to keep things quiet.
Mm-hmm. I hate it.
What, you like a jet engine?
No, I hate the reason.
Hot.
I hate what it does. It makes everything run way too hot.
Well, you can override it. You can override it if you wish.
You design the cooling system correctly. If you design it, with enough thermal mass to move heat away from the processors without much of a fan, then it'll work fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's something I was a little bit disappointed in, that it's a single processor model. I prefer 2 processors.
Honestly, with modern Xeons, you don't need dual processors.
But I like it because I can distribute. I can
I don't
distribute
need
the load,
6
and
new bus
therefore the
slots,
heat.
but I want 6.
New bus.
Well, and the iMac Pro has the capability for dual Xeons out of the box as well.
No.
Does it?
No. I have one. I
thought it was
one
a dual
at
Xeon.
work. I don't.
What, the Mac
The
Pro
iMac
5.1?
Pro?
iMac.
The iMac Pro. Yeah, I thought
No, the
that was a
iMac
dual
Pro is a
Xeon.
single processor.
It's a single processor.
It's only a
yeah.
single? I thought it was a dual.
No.
Single.
But do
Crap.
you think that? And sorry, Ken, I just got to get this off my brain before
That's
I forget.
fine.
If everything is going single processor, and this machine can theoretically last 15, 20 years with upgrades, at what point is macOS 10 going to forget how to leverage multiple processors and thus phase out whatever is currently left?
That's not necessarily a macOS thing. That's a chipset thing, and the native threading implementation in the OS just sees it as whatever. In the case of like a dual processor Mac Pro, like 12 cores, that's all it sees.
Okay,
It's
cool. And what were you going to say, Ken? You had a feature in mind?
Yeah, I was going to say, as a person that does video editing 24/7, Afterburner's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I use ProRes for all of my computer clan work, all of my freelance work, and that already is such a buttery smooth codec to work with, especially in Final Cut Pro 10. But with this now, it's going to be lightning speed. Holy crap.
No stutters, huh?
Nothing. Yeah, 12 streams of 4K, and I think that's just the card's capabilities. Like, I don't know, like how many more streams it's going to support if you use the card with, the 4 GPUs or whatever,
If you have
56
2
teraflops.
cards.
I don't know if does it support
Yeah,
two?
probably not.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it has. No, one Afterburner, but
Yeah.
I think the one Afterburner can support the 2 video cards, which actually has 4. That's 4 GPUs
That'd be 4,
total.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how together that works with 8K stream.
That's gonna be.
What I thought about the Afterburner, I don't really comprehend how it works because I'm not familiar with all that stuff. But you got the CPU with a heatsink this big. You got graphics card with 4 slot heatsinks, and then you got an Afterburner with no heatsink. How does that work? It's supposed to be a super powerful.
It's an FPGA. It doesn't get hot. It's just kind of. It's programmed to perform a specific kind of calculation, and it doesn't need any cooling to actually do that. So
Gotcha.
It's an ASIC.
Yeah, so we have the expert. That's why we have Collin on here to answer.
It's like the old school physics processors, except this one's based around computation of a different kind.
Yeah,
processors.
And again, air, even though it doesn't have a heatsink, like air still flows right above it and right below it, so it's still cooling it.
Might even go right through it. We don't know.
And I would have to go back. I would have to go back to the keynote, but that Afterburner sat in a standard PCI slot, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Would I be able to squeeze one in a 5.1 and use it?
Oh, it's probably not going to be able to implement it the way it works. It probably works with a chipset and a whole lot of other.
No, it's PCIe. It'll probably work. You'll just probably experience reduced performance due to the lower PCIe bandwidth on these.
Plus, Apple's going to limit it.
Yeah, but that's always something easy to get past.
Says you.
They disabled rendering on Radeon cards on the classic Mac Pro. They did that in software.
Speaking of PCIe Express cards, or PCI Express card or slots, how do you guys feel about having 8 of them?
Awesome
in there.
Awesome. More than you'll ever need, but that's
much better than 0.
I think again, it's really unlike Apple, huge. I mean, the fact that
unlike Apple recently,
unlike Apple recently,
Well, there was a guy. Go ahead.
Oh, that just adds like a lot of options for expansion, especially down the road too.
In fact, one of the guys I watch, Snazzy Labs, I don't know if you guys watch him or not.
Oh yeah,
I do. Yeah.
He actually came out with a very good video on the Mac Pro. intro to it and everything. He actually was one of the ones that liked it, and the price, he didn't bitch about the price or anything like that. But one of his things was, and I kind of agree with him on that, is, a lot of people are complaining about all the I/O and stuff not being on it. Well, you got like 8 PCI Express slots that you could put all the I/O you ever want on the thing.
Yeah. I think
that's a good point. Yeah.
Besides the feet, I agree with all of it. The whole thing, even the ports up top, which someone made a good point, or someone said, "Why would you put ports up top? That is just stupid." And someone said, "Well, you can rack mount it, so now they're on the front. It makes more sense."
That depends on what you consider the front or back, because if you rack mount that, you need the air to go from front to back in the rack.
Well, the rack mount is a different case.
No, they would end up on the side.
That's maybe why they have those internal USB ports or whatever. Maybe there's some when the rack mount case plugs in or something like that.
Because those would not end up on the front, because on the front you would have your front of the actual case for the air intake.
Remind me, what was the I/O card that Apple showed? Not the Afterburner one, but there was like USB
I think it was
ports or something?
3 USB-A and 2 Thunderbolt.
Yeah, it was 2 Thunderbolt on the back, 3 USB-A, and then you had the 2 Ethernet connectors down near the power plug.
Yeah,
which kind of costs you one slot that you can't really use for much else anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Now, what I think is cool that is, talking about these ports and slots, that you have Thunderbolt ports on the video cards. That was kind of cool.
And that's where that MPX does come in. Yeah. It gives it more power and more watts and a Thunderbolt capability.
What was the power on it? 300 watts per?
No, almost 500.
I think it's almost 500.
Yeah. Whew, I don't see any other. I don't see any other computer coming close, or any PC coming close to that. Without having.
In that regards, the power supply is a little almost underpowered, because if you run 2 of those Vega Duos, you're almost at a kilowatt on their maximum load.
But the Xeon doesn't really use that much power compared to what people might think.
Yeah, but then you have your Afterburner. You got other PCI cards, maybe 1 or 2 hard drives in there. And you get to 1.4 kilowatt pretty quick.
I don't think so. I think they overdid.
You got to remember that 99% of the time your video card is pulling like half of its rated wattage anyway, or half of its rated power draw anyway.
Also,
not if you're running SETI at home.
Still, they overrate those things just for safety reasons. So,
and also remember, Jay, for instance, the MJD had the 400 and 360 watts.
Mm-hmm.
But you could have...
Greg, it sounds like you're about to take off.
I know, my MacBook...
Is that the T9900 MacBook?
No, this one's the T9900's in my lap.
Okay.
This is the 2.6 early 2008.
The one I did the GPU swap on. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But remember, the MJD, 360 watt power supply, 4 hard drives, 2 optical drives, a powerful GPU, and it still wasn't using all the power.
I know, but I'm thinking ahead. What if you have that thing for 5 years? NVIDIA drops that card that uses even more power, for example.
I don't think
you got to think ahead.
But it's still getting more efficient, and the more efficient, the less power.
Why are we all running around with Pixels mod now?
Because of the fact that most cards top out 150 to 300.
Yeah, the board can't supply enough power through its little traces for those powerful cards. That's why the Pixels mod exists. The power supply can handle it. It's the board that can't.
Right.
Yeah.
But, there's different opinions on that currently going on in the Mac Pro groups.
Oh, yeah.
That I keep getting sucked into. I don't want to, but I am.
One thing about this new case design that I'm a little concerned about, they advertise there's more air than metal, which translates to me it's going to be very easy to dent.
That's why I was talking earlier about the thickness of the case, How thick is that case? Because the way it looks like it's drilled in, the holes are like offset and they're kind of milled in to make it the venti ports.
They tell you how thick it is just by, if you think about the monitor, because the monitor uses the exact same design on the back of it to cool that extremely awesome monitor they're showing with it, which I want.
Well, we're going to get to that one here in a minute, but yeah. but the design. I hate to say this, but like I think we all agree it's ugly. But the
handles.
It grew
the
on
inside is awesome.
The inside.
I think definitely.
I don't care what it looks like. Just give me one.
He'll throw a paper bag over it.
When you're spending that amount of money, you want function over form.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I'm very, very glad they did that. I was very afraid when they showed that teaser video right before they showed
my
the
god,
machine.
my heart stopped, dude.
Yeah.
Exactly. The first thing they show is that
something round.
Great.
Yeah.
And then they show the stand for the monitor, and I'm like, it's going to be a sphere, and it's going to be 2 inches thick, and I'm going to.
Yeah. As soon as I saw that video, I was like, okay, they're going to just like troll us so much right now because they're going to be like, they're going to be like, we're going to make you think that it's just like the other one. It's circular and everything, and then we're going to come out with like. Just this, what they came out with.
Yeah, I stopped breathing for a good 10-15 seconds. I'm like, oh no!
It was a really well made teaser though, because like it fades to black and there's like just that low note sustaining for like 10 seconds and then boom, flash to the stage with it out. It reminded me of like the G3 when Steve presented the G3 walking up next to it, and like Tim did that with the Mac Pro here. It was like a total 90s flashback.
I'm very glad this is function over form.
Yeah,
very good. Apple could have easily gone the other way, and we would have a very different conversation right now.
We would have another cylinder.
Yeah. Speaking of that, what was missing from the keynote? 2 major people were actually missing from this keynote.
Phil Schiller and Johnny.
Johnny Ives.
Johnny, was he in any of the videos?
No, he was not in any of the videos.
On the website video.
He was just on the website video.
Yeah.
I, for one, was extremely happy that I didn't have to hear that same bullshit speech about uncompromising this and that. And
I'm thinking the design of the new Mac Pro. You can just,
it's the fastest Mac we ever built.
But he says that all. He says it all. Just watch the website video. You'll get all that nice British.
Yeah,
he's
I can't even say aluminum the way he says it.
Aluminium.
I just found it interesting because if you remember from the 2013 Mac Pro, Phil Schiller is the one who got up on stage to talk
innovate
about
my ass.
That's why they kept him out.
Okay, I just got to say, though, since we were talking about performance, where I literally shat a brick was when the guy opened up the Logic project and he scrolled through 1,000 tracks. I was like, dumb.
I was like saying to myself, how many tracks is this? Like, when is this going to stop? Like, this has to stop. And he just keeps going down. And oh my gosh. Like,
well, it's funny. There's a parody video out there this guy made that he says this is what 1,000 tracks sounds like. It's like he's like
people's ears are falling off in the audience.
Oh, my Apple Watch says this is too many decibels. Stop.
Stop the pain.
So in general, from all of you, thumbs up or thumbs down for the new Mac Pro?
2 thumbs up.
Yeah,
I say thumbs up.
I would say
I am not going to be able to afford one anytime soon. But I think Apple delivered on its promise.
If you really want to support MacHack and you care about each and every one of us, you will donate $6,000 to each of us so we can have a new Pro.
Now I have to say
you
one
can even
thing.
donate it to the guest stars.
We'll ship it around and share it between us.
Yeah, and if once we all have one, we'll all line up on a deserted highway and we'll race them.
Mine's faster than yours.
But I do have to say one thing, because somebody, when the keynotes and everything were going on, somebody did mention it in another group that had nothing to do with Mac. They mentioned, what is with this cheese grater design? And I went, you know what? That's what everybody's been asking for since the last cheese grater.
All right, how many people are getting tired of seeing pictures of cheese graters on all the Mac Pros?
I think it's funny. I think it's funny. Whatever.
It was funny too.
2006, they're going to keep doing it.
It was funny for one day, but after that, it got old.
Yeah, Mac Pro upgrade, Mac Pro users, low-end Mac, and 1 or 2 other groups. They all started just instantly deleting them.
We started banning those posts.
Done. I mean, it was funny for a day. It wasn't even funny for a day, but
in all honesty, I was like 5 feet away from a grocery store, and I was like, should I just get a cheese grater for my video? But I drove by. I think I made the right decision.
And I heard someone refer to the classic Mac Pro as the Zester now.
Zester?
Right.
That's canon now. That's Apple's official term for it. You're going to see the spec sheet, Mac Pro 2009 Zester.
I mean, I guess it makes sense, whole size.
Yeah.
Well, Jay and I were talking about, acronyms for each Mac Pro because, you got the CMP for classic Mac Pro.
Yeah.
And then they had the NMP for the new Mac Pro, which was the trash can. I said, no, now that's the TMP, trash can Mac Pro.
Yep, this will be the $sign Mac Pro.
And then, there we go.
I think
we'll never have it, Mac
fine
Pro.
with XMP.
Huh?
It's called XMP, like
Why X?
Why
Extreme.
Extremely expensive.
Extremely expensive.
Which segues us to our next thing.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Let's go to the next thing. Apple Display with XDR.
Display.
Nothing but disdain for that thing.
So what do we all think about the monitor stand that's $1,000?
Well, hold on.
Right.
We were going to hold off on that for a second here. Because,
Okay.
You knew that as soon as they put that Sony $40,000 up on the screen, you know that they were going to use that as a reference. So even $39,000 for their screen would seem cheap.
Yeah.
Of course.
And it's just
Marketing
49.99.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I just get a kick out of the anti-glare. Not even talking about the stand yet. The anti-glare cracks me up. Like they fabricate this whole fable around how anti-glare is supposed to work, and their solution
nanotexture
is
glass.
and their solution is a matte finish that is not completed. Basically, a production flaw finish, and they market it for $1,000.
Well, I also want to make sure people know this. It's not like your traditional monitor matte finish where it's like a plasticiness. Like it's actually glass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have not seen that on a 4-figure screen before.
Yeah, it's built into the glass.
That's pretty fucking awesome.
Don't scratch that thing.
Damn it, there's our second strike.
There we go.
Touching myself with flamingos.
And now we can move on to the stand.
Okay. The reason why I wanted to say the stand because we always have what were they smoking segment on MacTech here. Apple made what were they smoking?
They made the list.
So that stand, I'm sorry, but $1,000.
Yeah, that's
Unless
pretty
that would make that even a value in any relative
It moves
term.
up and down like the iMac G4.
And honestly, here's the thing: even if it was worth $1,000, if they just would have worked it into the price of the whole display by itself, no one would have batted an eye.
Yeah.
But
So
they had to say,
yeah.
they had to say, and the Pro stand is $9.99, and then the audience.
I was laughing so hard that I had to rewind the keynote. I'm like,
Did I just hear that? The audience just
like,
gave them a big old finger?
Well, what are you going to do if you buy just the display? You don't get a stand with it. What are you going to do? Prop that
you
up
do.
on the...
Actually, see, that's what a lot of people are not getting, especially in the groups.
Yeah,
you still get a stand, you get a basic stand. You don't get the little up and down motion.
That's what I thought.
I'm okay with that.
But I went back to the website and it doesn't depict it with a stand, a basic stand, and it doesn't.
But that's what they said in the keynote. They said something about in the keynote that it had a basic stand.
I must have missed that.
I don't.
I missed it too, but I believe it.
But I can't believe they're going to sell a monitor without some kind of stand.
Yeah, that's what
otherwise you're going to prop it against the wall.
Yeah. Or do like Ken did in one of his videos with the cinema display and just kind of prop it up against
because the freaking leg broke off.
And the guy in the Discord chat that noticed first, and we shall not say his name because Rocky will probably massacre it,
Oh my!
He's from Sweden. He noticed that at certain camera angles, you could see heat ripples coming off of the displays on stage, distorting the picture
really?
behind it.
Yes, but I also do want to say you're going to see that depending on the focal length of the lens. Like I don't know if they use like broadcast lenses, they probably do, but you even see that with the like the MacBook Pro when Phil Schiller was like, "Here's my finger," and he was like, "This is how thin the Retina display thing is." Like you saw heat ripples everywhere.
Okay, because I thought it made sense because they made the whole back of the display a heat sink.
Oh yeah. That thing probably does get freaking hot.
Well,
but I also,
look at the LEDs, all the LEDs they use in there because it's all,
Yeah, and I also do want to point out, I am double checking on the website. It says in the box, it does not say a stand anywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
But I would actually, Ken, like you mentioned, like they separated the price of it. I would prefer them selling the display $1,000 cheaper without the stupid stand in it. But that still doesn't make sense. Like, just like you have aluminum, just make a cheapo stand and include it in the box. Just like you're
I
paying
agree with you
$6,000 for this thing already. Just
to be honest with you,
make it wood. I don't care what it is.
But to be honest with you, the reference monitors out there today are like almost triple what that thing costs.
Oh yeah, the price is still good in comparison.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was just at NAB. I saw a bunch of that expensive stuff.
Include the $200 Visa mount in it, then. I mean,
Right.
It's so stupid. I mean, come on.
That's like Apple not including little headphone adapter with the phone. You know, how cheap are you?
Right, and I understand that. No, I'm just going to put this out there, just being a pro myself with video. Like when you buy like a Red, you just get the body. You don't get even a battery plate typically. A lot of pro stuff is very modular.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe that's why they do it that way.
Yeah,
Right.
So
It was still
one
kind of a
thing-
stupid move, though, to save it for the end and be like, and the Pro to stand. The way they presented it was still terrible.
Yeah. I'm reading this article here, and apparently, so you can opt to get a Vesa mount adapter for $200.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
So,
Yes. You
So
can.
it's got
so
special
you can
magnets.
do that. Hopefully,
My thing is, sorry, go ahead,
The
Michael.
magnets are cool.
I was just going to say, hopefully, I don't know if you guys saw Quinn from Snazzy Labs, like his video on the whole, like,
Oh yeah,
Vesa
I had the
mount
same
thing.
problem. I had the same problem.
I would
That's
hope
how we became
that
friends.
this Vesa mount is not the same one. Like,
No,
it's
if you look at it, it looks like it's way different than that than the one on the
Yeah, it's different.
I'm just glad for the $6,000 you get a polishing cloth inside.
They do include cloths. Like with my MacBook Pro,
I hope that they would include a pair of Apple stickers and make them like a special edition. You know,
Make
what I mean?
it magnetic.
For the stand. Then you
Yeah,
can
they
put them,
have
like,
they have LEDs in the stickers. You know.
Yeah.
You turn them on, they're 500 degrees.
My hands!
I read an article, and I think you shared it, Greg. Someone did an article on the stand, the Pro stand, defending it and why it's so important that your screen doesn't move a millimeter and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I have never, and I supported graphic designers and video editors for years in my business.
Well, your wife is a graphic designer.
What you do when you need nothing to move is you have a solid desk. I mean, I'm not going to use this display on a boat. It's going to be on a desk. So I think the whole argument of how important it is for that screen not to move and that warrants a $1,000 stand, I don't buy it.
If I remember listening to the keynote, it said something about gyros or something in there that keeps it,
It's probably like a counterbalance thing, kinda like how Luxo works. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I got these two arms on my desk, and I can adjust my screens however I want.
If you look at it, it looks identical inside to the one on the iMac G4.
Which had issues and a recall and had to be fixed and replaced. So let's see that happen.
Yeah,
$1,000 stand.
You want
maybe they finally fixed it.
You want to hear the best value out of all of this? This is the best value you're going to get from these Pro products. Apple Care Plus, $99 to replace it for screen damage.
Not
so your $6,000. No, that's what it says. It says
what?
Apple Care Plus purchase date adds up to 2 incidents of accidental damage, each with the service fee of $99 for screen damage or enclosure damage, or $299 for other repairable damage.
So what does Apple Care cost, though? What does the Apple Care cost?
That's what I'm curious of.
$9.99.
$1,000.
Well, let's talk about some of, like the other basic features though. Like it's 32 inches, it's freaking 6K, it's P3, it's 10-bit. That's pretty awesome.
It has no camera,
But
it has
what
no
was
speakers.
killing me during that keynote was they kept displaying 8K video, and the screen can only go up to 6K.
Yeah.
About that.
what TV out there is 8K anyways?
No,
Yeah,
this is all in-house production stuff. You know.
Yeah, I'm sure that the professionals that are going to use this display don't give a crap about not having a camera and not having speakers.
No, yeah.
But for 20 cents, you could have put them in. Just saying.
I don't know. It probably gets too hot, and the camera probably.
It probably goes back to what
speaker
Ken was
cone
saying.
melting out the bottom.
Yeah, it probably goes back to what Ken is saying. Is everything in the professional market is more or less modular. So if you're going to buy a display and you have to disable these speakers, or it's one more thing to worry about. I'm sure Logitech, like they have the magnetic camera, they're going to come out with magnetic Bluetooth speakers or something.
They could.
You know?
And most pros that are going to be, let's say, using this in the video world, they have an audio interface. They have studio monitors. They have an acoustic treated room. You know.
Oh yeah.
I guess it's hard for me to imagine every aspect because I am not the professional this thing is marketed for. So sometimes I fall back in my old consumer behavior. From where's the camera? Where are the speakers? Like, can you touch the on/off button without burning your finger? You know, how's that going to work?
I don't even think there is a button. It's just no button.
Hey Siri, turn on the display.
I absolutely love the LED feature that's built into it, that lighting feature. That's what I want in every monitor. That adaptive LEDs where it just lights certain sections of the screens.
For only $6,000, it can be yours.
I want one. I want one bad. I don't even care about having the Mac Pro. I want the dang monitor.
You would spend $6,000 to watch your anime, wouldn't you?
Yes, I would.
Nice upscaled 480p.
Now I don't know if any of you guys watch Telosive Tech, but Drew on there, he went on a rant against the monitor because, he was expecting Apple to come out with a prosumer monitor, not a pro.
It's called an iMac.
Yeah,
it's called a studio display.
Well, he was like, "Well, I had like $3,000 I was willing to spend and stuff, but I'm not going to spend." I'm like, "Dude, it wasn't meant for you then. If you can't afford it, it wasn't meant for you."
I'm sure that the screen is going to be amazingly beautiful once you stand in front of it. Like I'm working on these crappy 24-inch 1080p displays. Backlight is fading. I got a few pixels out. You know, it's garbage. But my wife's 5K iMac, wow, it's amazing.
Yeah,
so
that's what I have here in front of me is a 5K iMac. You know,
so that's 6K or whatever. How many K? It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, here I am like a sucker using a CRT.
Jay still wants it.
I do.
So, kind of to wrap up the pro part of this. Thumbs up, thumbs down. I mean, I think that the Pro and the display. I think the display is kind of.
I'll give them both a thumbs up if they do what they are intended to do for the professional it's marketed to. I know nothing about displays, but if it holds true on its promise, thumbs up.
Now, here's the thing though with that display. Remember, you're only going to be able to use it on other Thunderbolt-enabled devices.
It says
USB-C
though.
But I don't know.
That's what I hate about this. It's like you don't know what protocol it actually supports.
I want to see the first person that plugs it into a 12-inch MacBook and the MacBook just disintegrates instantly. Poof, gone. Wait, what? Thumbs up for me for now until the reviews start coming in from the professionals that put it
actually
next to a 40,000 Sony and say, wow, okay, they weren't bullshitting us.
And to be honest with you, I don't think we're going to get real true professional reviews especially on YouTube, because a lot of these guys go and buy this stuff and then they review it, and
Well,
I think
gotta
Linus
really,
is going to be one of our best references on that.
Oh, Linus
considering
didn't
that
even
he
know
does.
that the PCI slots weren't all 16 width. Come on.
Yeah.
But considering somebody who does high-level video editing and stuff, I think Linus is going to be one of our better benchmarks.
I think we need to just lay the pressure on Ken here and say, go buy a $40,000 then a Mac Pro, and then a display. And
come on,
we'll
Ken.
reimburse you. Just give us, the receipt.
Just make a $6,000 Patreon tier. See who signs up.
He's like, I'm gonna have to sell a couple of kidneys, to afford that thing.
Yep. But yeah, overall, I feared the worst for months. Or how long has this thing been in the making?
Oh God,
a year?
2 years, probably.
Yeah, 2 years.
I've been worried.
They even kept the Mac Pro in a stealth case so no one could see it at the campus.
I'm very relieved that there is a future for me for Mac Pro, albeit 10 years from now. But still, I don't have to go Hackintosh, and I'm very happy.
That's why I give it thumbs up, because if you listen to our previous podcast, we were all gloom and doom because everything was going external Thunderbolt and all this stuff. I hope, and this is probably where I'm crazy here, I hope that similar to in the late 90s, early 2000s from Apple, they would come out with one thing that was very expensive and then that would be integrated into their lower end products. It would be nice to see a new prosumer display based on similar technology, and maybe even, which won't happen because the iMac Pro is now this thing, it would have been nice to see a junior version of a Mac Pro, But,
well, they sell the LG 4K displays on their Apple Store, don't they?
Yeah. I think they started doing that.
I heard they stopped putting them in.
But they stopped and they was, I don't know. There's some.
That's when the rumors started coming out about a new Mac display coming out.
My pipe dream is that all the engineering and R&D that went into this, maybe they'll have a prosumer tower. Yeah, because think of it this way: they're not going to come out with the prosumer version first. They're going to come out with the most expensive one and then work their way down. So
because then they get all the suckers to buy them, and then you're like, damn it, I could have bought something cheaper.
So hopefully we get a Mac Mini on steroids that's a tower or something. Who knows if we'll get a Quadra 700 again? But
Garrett is saying in the chat, I'm amazed it didn't leak. Me too, actually. It's a lot easier to keep products that are built in America a secret. Anything built in China, it's leaked instantly. But here they have a bit tighter control on all that.
And that goes back to what I was talking about. I wasn't joking about that. That was a story from one of the Apple dudes. They kept it in this case inside their campus. It was concealed from everyone who it was a need to know basis. If you were at the Ring building and you weren't on that project, you didn't see that thing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
They did a good job because there were zero leaks.
Zero leaks because nobody even knew that this was going to look like that.
And that's something I haven't felt for a keynote in years.
That's why I was so excited. I was shaking while watching this shit.
Now I was jumping up and down for crying out.
Well, I was in public. I didn't want to look weirder than normal.
He was probably in his underwear and his no shirt on. It's like,
maybe. No, just kidding. I was at work. I was in our company's cafe, but I was the only one down there, and I was like,
I had my iPhone with my finger over the record button because I wanted to record the screen and sort of my initial reaction to it, and I saw the teaser with that sphere, and I'm like, crap, and I dropped my phone.
In my head, I was like, no, not again. We just got through this.
Oh, by the way, we just asked amongst ourselves, thumbs up or thumbs down. Everybody watching right now, if you like the Mac Pro, give the video a thumbs up.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
Or if you don't like the Mac Pro, give the video a thumbs up.
Yep.
Well, hey, thumbs down, thumbs up.
Let's see how many people.
It's all good.
Out the same.
Yeah.
Now we got a thumbs down. Thanks, Rocky. Thanks.
It was there before I
It was there before.
It's been there for a while.
All right.
Hey, it's better than last week's little snafu there with Rocky.
Nobody go back to last week's episode. Nothing.
But just being
I'm never going to live that
daily
down.
On Discord if you want to see that.
Okay, guys, we got
Rocky. It's fog.
Yeah,
I know.
We have one last thing, one more thing, as Apple puts it, to talk about. macOS Catalina.
Yeah.
10.15. Okay. I'm actually beta testing that right now on my MacBook Pro. So far, it's all right. The one thing I do not
What a
like
ringing
about it.
endorsement.
Well, the reason why I say that is because to me, it's just another little small bump. It's not really I don't think it's a real major.
They used up all their innovation on the Mac Pro.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Only one of the problems I see so far is if you have two different iTunes accounts. Like I have an iCloud account, and then I have one that I do for email and stuff, and then I have one that I use for the store. The problem with that I'm finding out right now is that if you sign into the one that you use for your iCloud email and everything else, you can't sign into not iTunes anymore. It's Music or whatever, but you can't sign into the App Store or whatever else with your one that you use to purchase stuff. So
that's a bug report.
We've already submitted a bunch of them, but it should be, because to me, I've been trying to get Apple to merge these two accounts forever, and they refuse to do it. So it's like,
fine.
Yeah, I have no recourse. I have to have two different accounts because otherwise,
Well, yeah, and like on the iPhone, you could have one for store and one for like iCloud. So hopefully
it works fine that way. Yeah,
yeah. I think that it's interesting that. I don't know. I did not hear the word Catalina. Maybe I was snoozing off, but I did not know what the OS was called, and so I kept looking in, topics online. I'm like, what is this thing called? What?
What's about?
Who said it? Yeah.
I kind of tuned out a little. I was so excited about the Mac Pro that
maybe that's what happened.
I just spent typing on Discord, typing on Facebook, texting my wife who was standing right behind me. But I was texting her. Like, what? And I kind of missed most of the whole macOS 10 thing or macOS thing.
The Halo effect.
Yeah.
So, guys, since we already have him here, we all know about unsupported Macs. How about we let Collin take it over and talk about a little bit of what's coming up future for Catalina on unsupported?
Well, I was going to get to that, but we can go ahead. I don't think Grudy looks at the
No,
document.
I don't.
Did I that document? I might have missed the document for this time anyway. So
neither does Ken. He hasn't seen the document once. Last week or this week.
Hey, I haven't either, so I have no idea.
We kind of have a script, but Grudy doesn't like to follow the script, But
I always forget to open it.
Yeah. Millennials.
Well,
anyway, take it away, Collin.
You got the
Collin?
buddy.
Yes.
Hello?
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Sorry, you guys cut out a little bit. Anyway, so I hate to say this, but unfortunately, the future for 90% of the unsupported Macs is not looking too bright. And the reason is because Apple has transitioned Windows Server to using only the Metal API, which means the non-Metal video cards cannot provide graphics acceleration under Catalina at all.
Ooh.
Well, they can provide 2D acceleration. That's been achieved, which is barely even noticeable in my opinion. But on the bright side, Catalina will run on a Mac Pro with an upgraded video card, or an iMac with an upgraded video card. You can run it on a 3,1, 4,1, and 5,1, no problems.
What about Macs with an external eGPU that can do Metal?
That could technically work, but that's not a configuration that most users have.
Right.
And unless some miraculous thing happens, I mean, I've looked through a disassembler and all this stuff, and I personally can't see a way that acceleration would be achievable on non-metal video cards. But if for some reason or somehow something miraculous comes through and graphics acceleration is achieved, I will be releasing a patcher for Catalina. However, if not, I'm not going to be releasing the same patcher that I normally do. And that's just because people will complain a lot if they install.
People don't do that. What are you talking about?
If they install install Catalina and have the terrible performance you get when you don't have full graphics acceleration under macOS, it's just, in my opinion, it's not worth the work to put into a patcher when you get that result. And the complaints I would get from that will be ridiculous, because I already get like 20 to 30 emails about like Mojave Patcher and stuff a day.
Well, Collin, on the flip side of that, now you're going to get the complaints of, why aren't you releasing a patcher?
I know, and to which I can just ignore, because
never win.
it's not like a crucial thing where someone's system isn't working and I have to.
Yeah, this is what you do, Collin.
Mortals going to do that have a 4.1 or 5.1?
That I'm planning on probably just either, at the very least, making a tutorial video on how to patch it yourself, or B, making some sort of script or something that just does the necessary patches to get the installer to boot and install and boot the OS after installation.
Because I think one of the real values from your patcher is that update feature you have in there. Like you install a software update, something doesn't work, you have your own little software update that says, oh, hey, here's a new patch update.
Yeah, and that was a good idea, because basically what I ran into is people would update their system and then stuff would break, and they would ask me why in like an email. So I figured to relieve some of those, I actually ended up adding one extra feature to that tool since I released, or 2 extra features since I initially released it. The first one is reinstalling patches on your own. Like, basically when you do that, it downloads them from my server or from any place I decide to host it, and it will download the latest revision of that patch that I have up there. And the second feature I added more recently is the patch integrity check feature, which, based on a database of SHA-SUMs, it knows whether or not a file is what it should be. So it will alert you to reinstall the respective patches if it detects a mismatch in a SHA-SUM.
Sweet.
So I think that has helped a lot with system updates. But
what if you put in a start up a Patreon, and if you subscribe to it, then you get access to a patcher with a huge red text warning as soon as you open it up, saying, "Hey, idiot! Don't install this if you don't have a metal GPU."
No, I wouldn't do that. But I don't know. To me, I personally cannot use macOS without full graphics acceleration. It just makes me cringe. So I'm not going to release a tool that provides that same experience for other people, because it's not worth it for me. So unless, like I said, if we can get graphics acceleration working, I'll go ahead and work the patcher out. If not, I don't see much of a point in doing it, because it's a lot of work. And quite honestly, if the result's not good enough, I'm not going to put the work into it.
Well, if anything, I'm sure Ethan will try to help you out, and
he and I have been working on this, and he's actually the one who looked into the API calls and whatnot for Windows Server, and it turns out that some of the OpenGL fallback calls that were in Mojave are no longer present in Catalina. So,
well, either way, I'll be here to help you test anything you want tested.
Well, I've got testing pretty covered. I've got every single unsupported Mac I've supported except for the Mac Pro 3.1. I have everything else though.
I'll mail you a 3.1.
Rocky has one.
Yes, I do. With supported and unsupported GPU.
Maybe.
Now,
technically. Actually, both mine are unsupported now that I think about it, because I've got a 750 Ti. Yeah, so it's not supported.
I just want Catalina on my Xserve, Collin.
Yep.
So,
I mean,
Collin,
anything with an upgraded video card will run it fine.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask.
So, yeah.
Well,
you need to do something. It's a pain in the rear end to install Mojave on a mid-2011 iMac with upgraded graphics.
Yeah, I'll look into that and see if I can figure out a way to make the process a little bit more easier, or a little bit easier. But let me think. What was I going to say? I forgot.
Awkward pause.
Now, I have one question though, and this is just from my perspective on it.
Uh-huh.
Have you looked at the idea of modifying some of the, I just want to call them drivers because it just sounds easier.
Yeah, drivers, kicks, whatever. Same.
Yeah, to actually support cards that could support the features that Metal requires, but there weren't technically a quote-unquote driver that made it supported on that GPU. Is that something you're looking at?
Like the web drivers, you mean?
It doesn't have to be the web drivers, but I mean, any graphics card that could handle it, but doesn't handle it because there isn't proper support for it in the driver for it.
Okay, so you mean like writing custom drivers to add Metal support to a video card? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, basically.
Unfortunately, that's not possible because Metal requires certain hardware features of the GPU, and the older GPUs simply just don't support it.
Yeah, you can't just add that.
Well, our only hope is NVIDIA or other companies coming out with Metal-capable GPU cards that are somehow backwards compatible with older machines.
Yeah, but like my 750 Ti is not Metal compatible because of its drivers. It has nothing to do with the card itself.
That card, the card architecture is Metal compatible. It could be if the drivers existed.
Exactly, and that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking
but the
about
same is not
cards
true. The same is not true for an older architecture video card.
Like a Fermi?
Okay.
Yeah, like a Fermi. You can't, it won't have, in fact, the Fermi uses the same exact drivers as the Kepler cards.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, I believe there's an issue in High Sierra where it actually thinks it does support Metal, but it doesn't actually.
Yeah, I brought that up to you, Collin, multiple times.
Well, Collin, I hope that when the time comes, I can count on you and Ethan. I believe you guys' work to install Catalina on my Mac and any other Mac that might support it. So I appreciate your efforts.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'll see if I can put together some sort of script to, for like Mac Pro systems and stuff with upgraded video cards, because those are honestly a lot easier to support anyway, just because it requires a whole lot less patching. But one other thing I was going to say, this is what I was going to say earlier. Catalina has broken my custom installer patches. You know how, with a stock macOS installer, it does that whole preparing macOS installation or whatever before it actually starts the installation. That process that wastes like 20 minutes. I've been bypassing that with Sierra Patcher and later. And with Catalina, they've broken that patch, so I'm gonna have to re-engineer that and see if I can figure that out again.
It sounds like they're just trying their best to keep you from modifying it to make it.
Man.
They are.
Despite the fact that they said they want to support what you do, now they're not.
All right, guys. We need to kind of move a little bit here and talk about the features of Catalina.
All right.
Thank you for your service, Collin.
Yes, thank you.
Yes,
definitely.
And I'll try my best, but yeah, now you guys know my plans.
Yeah, one of the very first things is iTunes. Basically, going bye-bye. Poof.
About
gone.
damn time.
It is being split up into 3 different apps now. It's got music, podcasts, and Apple TV now.
That was probably the only joke I enjoyed of the whole WWDC was when Craig was like, "Oh, we're putting a calendar in it, putting a web browser."
That was hilarious. Oh,
Nailed
it.
That was
good.
And
But,
not specific to Catalina, but did you guys notice that pretty much throughout the keynote, the ratio of applause that Craig got versus Tim Cook was always higher?
Oh, yeah.
People just love that guy.
Yeah, he presents better.
Yeah, Craig's a very good presenter, I think.
But anyways, okay, I've actually put Catalina on my MacBook Pro, and I've seen all 3 apps. Now, the problem with them is you can't use the TV app yet because guess what? They don't have it actually, the server's up yet for it.
Sure.
iTunes does work. Music app does work. I was able to pull my music down from iTunes and play it and all that good stuff. I haven't tried the podcast app yet because I don't listen to a lot of podcasts on iTunes or whatever now. So I don't know if anybody else has installed it. Ken, have you installed it yet?
Not yet, but it will be on Crazy Ken soon. Thanks to Greg's help.
Installation sensation.
Installation sensation.
Should be easy, actually, because it was easy for
No,
me.
I know. Like, I'm not planning on those episodes being challenging, but as a part of the installation sensation, it's always like, hey, let's take this for a test drive. What little things can we find? And but I also do want to say, on that note, I am doing an installation commemoration of iTunes, and I'm starting on version 1.0 on OS 9. And I'm going to be showing some of the changes throughout history. Got my old iPods, trying to boot them up and stuff. It's going to be fun.
That is going to be interesting.
That'll be fun.
If you, if anyone watching is interested in what goes on behind the screens and before you see it, check out Ken's Patreon, where
There is a Crazy Ken Patreon, yeah. You can also get your name in the show credits. Shameless plug, but if you want
$5 a month,
and an exclusive Discord server.
four, isn't it? Right? Yeah,
4 for the Discord server, 5 for the credits. Yeah, plus you get all this cool behind the scenes stuff.
and 6,000 for the Mac Pro.
6,000 for Mac Pro, 7,000 for Wheels, and then we'll blow it across the freeway.
I'm adding
Have a
that to
highway
your
race.
Patreon right now. Hold on, let me just.
Okay. The next feature here is one that I am glad they finally came out with. Sidecar.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
But I read
so glad
today
because
that it's very limited on the hardware.
Hold on,
which it will
hold
work
on.
for.
Hold on.
no, actually, you can actually use your Apple TV as a sidecar.
Oh, really?
Or you can use your app or your iPad, because when I booted
That's
it up,
not what he's referring to, GT. He's
What is he talking about?
back end, which Colin's about to explain.
Okay.
What?
So, interesting note about Sidecar. There is a user preferences item in like the NS user preferences in OS or in macOS that will override the hardware support, a user preference. And if you just set it to true, it will work on any system Catalina can run on.
Yeah, but you think they're going to keep that in?
I don't know.
Don't tell them. Don't tell them.
Don't tell them they left that shit by mistake.
well,
No, we didn't hear anything.
yeah, the problem I've had so far with Sidecar is I can't upgrade my iPad to iPadOS yet. So it does see my iPad, but when I click on it to say use it as set, it says nope, can't use it right now.
Wait, why can't you upgrade your iPad?
No.
But it's
I can't-
because the beta profile is not out yet.
Exactly.
You can get the IPSW though. I've done that already.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
where? I can't even find
From my
the
developer
Apple
profile. I'm a
I can't
paid
find it.
Apple developer.
Where is it?
It's in the developer portal.
Where is it for me?
Hey, we want that.
For a week.
But I can like.
I think
upload
even
them like
Ken
this.
wants that.
Well, I'll get there eventually. I have a buddy with an iPad Pro. We're going to have fun with iPadOS, so we'll get there later.
But anyways, I think that is going to be a neat little thing. Have it, because I've actually had different apps. There's another app, I can't remember what the name of it was, but I used it so you could use the iPad as a secondary display on both Windows and Mac OS. But you have to have it plugged in with the Lightning connector. The way this new Sidecar works is it's supposed to be able to do it wirelessly also, which means that you don't need to have wires. It's like you could throw it through a hula hoop and, like Steve Jobs
Steve
did.
Jobs with the iPhone.
And you don't need that, and you can hold it any way you want and use it, and you can use touch on it to actually control stuff on the screen.
And the
which
touch
is
bar
nice.
controls are on there too.
Exactly.
Wait, without using remote desktop? What?
Huh?
Without using remote desktop?
I'm reasonably excited for that feature. All I have is
Yes.
an iPad Mini, so I'm not like, eh. But
Well, I have an iPad 5th gen, so it's it's not the most up to
mine's
date
not
one.
supported, so.
Well, yeah, you probably got the iPad 1, right?
No, I have the iPad 1, then I have the iPad Mini Retina, the 2 or whatever. So
We
that's,
I have iPad Mini 2s.
But I did notice on there that you can actually, it shows the Apple TV, because I have an Apple TV also, and it shows up in there as one of the pickers that you could pick to actually use as Sidecar.
I wonder if that's a
as
bug
well.
or not.
Well, you used to be able to actually display to Apple TV.
Yeah, you can
using
mirror to the
AirPlay,
Apple TV.
Right.
using AirPlay, but now they have it where you can actually use it as like Sidecar now, which might be a little bit better. I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit better.
Yeah,
Who knows?
We'll see. And what
We'll have to see.
about the? I'm personally not going to have a use for it, but the voice control.
Accessibility?
Well, I was going to say that's just big because, especially for me, being an ALS Association donor, like I like seeing how like ahead of the game. Apple is with accessibility.
It
It's
is very
insane.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think that the way they went about it with the numbers and stuff, really elegant solution to a big problem.
Yeah.
I think they did well.
And the demo that they had, the video that they had was actually pretty darn good. I mean, it worked like almost flawlessly, like it was scripted. Maybe, I don't know, but
I mean, it is a video, you know.
Yeah, there was a lot of probably
later
editing in that. It's like, damn it, Siri, stop doing that.
Yeah, I mean, for all the crap we give them for Siri, I'm actually happy with some of the improvements I'm seeing them consistently do with the accessibility features. That has always been, part of one of these pillars of their operating systems, making ease of use easier for those individuals that have an accessibility issue. So I think that's excellent.
But
really
not
cool
only is the accessibility going to be in Mac OS, but it's also going to be in iOS. So they're actually putting in both different systems and iPadOS. So all three operating systems are going to have this accessibility feature in it. So I think
and it's not something that I'll probably ever use, but it gives me some I don't know the right word, some pride to be an Apple customer.
Warm and fuzzies.
It's mirth. It's mirth.
Jay, you could get hit by a car tomorrow and be paralyzed, and see you have to use it.
Oh no!
No, we won't.
Wow, Greg! Wow,
great.
I said you could.
Yeah, that's it. You're
not
scaring
wishing
me
it on you.
Sure.
Yeah, and like you said, it's for iOS as well. That's good.
Yep.
And, I think the last thing was activation lock.
Well, no, we skipped one.
We already covered that.
We kind of talked about it, but Find My. It's the name of the app is called Find My. It doesn't say anything else.
Well, I like.
It's kind of a
that.
weird,
Find my thing.
Yeah.
Are you going to finish your sentence? Find your.
It's always been weird that the app was named Find My iPhone, but it could find iPads and watches and iPods. Yeah. I like that it combines the Find My Friends and the Find My iPhone, because those are two different apps. Although the colors are completely different, I always tap the wrong one, or I randomly search for it on my home screen and tap the wrong one. So it makes sense to combine them, because why have two separate apps that do pretty much the same thing? So
In fact, when I first started using it, I found a couple of devices that I've sold or gotten rid of that were still on there, and I was like, "Oh, remove!" And there's a little remove feature where you can remove it right away. So I'm like, "Oh, let me remove that real quick." So if you forgot to deactivate or to take it off of that, it's real easy to do it. Now that actually goes into what we're going to talk about next: activation lock on iOS, or not iOS, OS 10.15. It's going to be similar, almost identical to iOS's activation lock, where you're going to register with iCloud and everything, and if you lose your Mac and you sit there and say, "Oh, I lost my Mac, let me lock it," boom. No one else can actually install a new operating system onto it. I think this is going to be with
had
T2.
that for a long time.
But
this is more like mobile device management. There's no way around it.
Yeah. Now
there's no way around it in the i-series processors and newer. It's what they call the iCloud lock.
No. It's going to be with the T2 chip. Anything with the T2 chip is probably going to be able to be locked like this.
Yeah.
Now, the Mac I have here and the Mac Pro, even if I put activation lock on there, I can wipe the hard drives and start all over. There's no way they can link that particular Mac to, unless you have hardware locking, which is the T2 chip.
I think your iMac it's more of a firmware lock in its current implementation.
When you do, I believe it's called the erase and lock my Mac feature from or Find My iPhone or whatever. What it does is it'll assign your system. First thing it'll do is it'll assign your system a random firmware password. The next thing it'll do is it will lock down the hard disk so it can't, or the SSD, whatever you have, so it can't boot unless you enter a 4-digit code. And then that's all it does. So the firmware password is supposed to prevent you from pressing option and booting from a different volume. That's the whole purpose of that. That's it. And then the 4-digit passcode is to prevent the system from booting.
But Colin,
course,
we know you have like firmware.
oh yeah,
removers,
it's so easy to get past. You just
I might need
in
your help on
quotes,
that.
you just desolder the EEPROM and reprogram.
Oh,
You can wipe out the
That's no
scenario.
problem.
Yeah. You can wipe out that firmware password and then you just reset your PRAM, boot up off a different volume, and you're done. But yeah, the T2 chip is. I don't like the concept of it at all because it's just. It locks down the system way too much. You can't even, it barely allows you to run other operating systems from macOS. And it locks down, I believe it locks down the hard disk access.
Yes, it does.
It locks down the audio controller access, which is weird. And then there's one,
I guess because of Siri.
Oh, that makes sense. I don't know. It locks down one other hardware device, but yeah, I don't know. I don't like the concept of it. I feel like a failure of that would result in an artificially dead
But
system.
overall, for macOS Catalina, thumbs up or thumbs down?
So far, I'm going to have to give it a thumbs up.
I'm neutral.
Somewhere in the middle.
I don't know yet. I don't have a system that can even run Mojave that I own.
Yeah.
So whatever.
I haven't tried it yet, so I don't really know either.
I
but
only own one system that officially supports Catalina, and right now it's broken because of Collin.
I don't even own it. I don't even own a system that supports Mojave. And it's only because of Collin's patch that I'm able to be in this stuff.
I was going to say, I got a bunch of buddies that owe their life to you, Collin, because they're always like, "Oh, I'm using the Mojave patcher and all this stuff." And I'm like, "Okay, well, this is the guy you got to thank now."
Yeah, show them that donate button on his website.
I'm going to do this.
Collin, you need to make that donate button a lot bigger.
Make it very intrusive.
Yeah.
I don't want to make it look like I'm begging for money, man.
Oh,
It's
come
not
on.
begging.
Come on.
It's asking.
It's not really.
Yeah,
bad.
you're doing an awesome service. You deserve to be paid for your time.
If you like
Yeah.
what I do, support me. That's what you're doing.
That's
all
what you're
you're
doing.
asking for.
You're only getting paid for your work on getting this stuff out to us, see?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, no, there's a big difference between asking and begging. I mean, hey, babe, can I have some more potatoes? Yeah, sure. Can I please have more lasagna? So yeah, don't be shy about making that button as big as the whole screen.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're getting to pretty much the end of the show here. But before we go, we're going to go ahead and let our guests and all of us here at MacYak, we're going to do a shameless self-promotion. So we're going to throw it to we're going to throw it to Ken first. Let him talk about his stuff.
Right, yeah. So if you're a techie, which I'm guessing you are if you're here, or if you're curious about tech, the Computer Clan is your place to call home. We've been around since 2007, one of the longest-running YouTube channels out there, especially in the tech world. And yeah, just on Monday we did a new video on the Mac Pro, and I think it's going to be later on Friday. It might be one of those YouTube premieres. I'll be doing that iTunes commemoration video, which is going to be a lot of fun. And then yeah, macOS Catalina is up on the docket, and then after that is episode 5 of Vintage Apple Vault, where we show the Macintosh SE, but also a lot of prototypes. Apple prototypes you probably never even seen before, including a G4 Cube with a speaker. Like, what? There was a prototype like that? Yes, there was. You'll see a ton. Yeah, you'll see some good stuff coming up soon. So, yep, that's the Computer Clan. Go check us out.
All right, Michael MJD.
Hey guys, I'm Michael. So I run a tech channel.
I love it.
I've been doing it for about 10 years, and it's Michael MJD, youtube.com/MichaelMJD. I do mainly I have a focus on vintage stuff, but I do branch more into the Windows side of things. I do occasionally go into some Apple stuff, but if you're into the Windows side of things, check out my channel. I make videos every week. I've got one coming either tomorrow or Saturday, so if you want to see that, check it out.
Hey, Jay, do your normal.
No. I'm being respectful here.
This is a new Jay we're seeing.
But yeah, working with Windows is a nasty habit. You should stop it. But that's all I'm going to say.
Oh, hey, okay.
I just did a Windows video. Come on.
But he was installing Windows on a Mac.
Whatever. Details.
Okay, Colin, go for it.
So my channel, of course, is dosdude1, which I specialize in doing, more recently I started doing more hardware modifications. So I've done things like installing CPU sockets on a non-CPU socketed motherboard on a Mac Mini. I've done processor upgrades on MacBook motherboards, and I plan on attempting a RAM upgrade on a MacBook Air and a RAM and processor upgrade on a little mini Sony Vaio UM PC, which is actually a Hackintosh at this point. So I think those will be quite some interesting videos. So if you want to check those out, go ahead and check out my channel.
And
Okay. And Steve, I think, posted all the links in there. So
Yeah. Good keeping
I'm trying
up,
as
Steve.
fast as I can.
Thanks, Steve.
and Steve, you're next.
Oh boy. Geez. I am working on a Macintosh Plus video that is really cool. So I picked up a Mac Plus that was pretty much in the box with all the accessories. And I mean, that thing is minty. So I'm doing an unboxing video of that.
Minty.
Gonna plug in a SCSI 2SD adapter, which I got working. There's a trick to it that a lot of people who are having trouble with. So I don't think I'm the first one to figure this out, but I'd be happy to demo how it works. So that's pretty cool. Another thing that's upcoming is I have I'll tease that for later, but I have a Mac clone video that I'm hoping to finish up before the end of this month, and
I
have
thought you
some
were going
other.
to say year.
No. If I don't set a limit, I'm never going to do it. So, hoping to do that soon. And I have a cool thing that I'm going to toy with. So I'm happy for feedback and suggestions. My idea is to, I have two similar era machines. I have an old PC and an old Mac, and I want to think about, from the similar era, how easy was it to work with digital video, importing it, burning a DVD, stuff like that.
That's cool.
Spoiler alert, the Windows side is going to be a bag of hurt. So I think it'll be fun.
Okay. Grudy, you take it next.
Well, before I begin, speaking of Collin's projects here, this is his most recent project on his channel. He put a socket on this 2009 Mac Mini and put a T9900 in it.
Yep, T9900. Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's a 3 gigahertz, 3.06, but 3 gigahertz Core 2 Duo now. I'm going to be doing a video on that soon.
The ultimate coffee warmer.
Well, from what I've been testing, it's actually really cool.
Nice.
I didn't even have to touch the fan curve. But anyway, guys, I'm Greg Rutke of Rutke Mods. I've got a channel on YouTube. I was also once upon a time a Cydia developer on jailbroke devices. iOverclock was my biggest package. It had over a 250,000 downloads on it. But I do a YouTube channel which specializes mostly in Macs. I do a few other tech-related things, including stuff I still have never gotten around to filming. Laserdisc. And this is really weird.
We'll have to collab, Greg.
But I've got a lot of projects coming up, a lot of videos, although I'm moving currently, so it's going to be spotty. But I'm going to be filming Collin's Mac Mini very soon. Steve and I have both been working with Ken on Apple vintage Apple Vault and stuff. So I'll be doing the iMac, the episode 6 video very soon. I'm doing a project upgrading a mid-2007 iMac to run Mojave and all the other operating systems that supported it on it. I've got the drive all set up already for it. I just got to stick it in. And I'm also really known for the Mac Pro series and getting the most out of your classic Mac Pro, and the PowerPC series showing you what you can do in a modern day world with a PowerPC system. And that's basically me.
All right. Rocky, you're up next.
Geez. Actually, I'm quite behind thanks to being intermediate between a couple jobs and stuff at the moment, so I've been rather focused on work. But I do have in the queue. Actually, there's going to be an Atari 5200 mod that I will be doing.
Ooh.
Yeah, actually going to convert that bad boy from being with its little separate weird adapter to being all internal. So you just plug in the power, you'll plug in the video, and you'll be done. That's on the docket. But along with that, there's some other stuff that is long overdue that I'm going to be working on. And then plenty of Twitch stuff is going to be coming.
You better, because I'm a patron to your channel, and you haven't put anything out.
I know, and I've been very behind lately. It's just my plate's been pretty full lately, so I do apologize.
Okay, Jay, what do you got going
on? I am pretty busy lately with just life, job, kid, all that stuff. I'm trying to spend a little bit more time with my family, but I am putting a lot of time and effort into my old website, appleserialnumberinfo.com. It's the database is a little dated. Got a lot of new features planned, a lot of updates. So that's my first priority now. Everything that doesn't belong on that website, little tinkering and exploits and opinions, goes on my blog, thehouseofmoth.com. And of course, there's my YouTube channel, which is also going a little bit stale, but don't worry. I now have 13 G5 Xserve cluster nodes that I'm going to fire up, set up in a cluster, and we're going to see what that puppy can do, hopefully before the end of June. So that's that.
That's going to be interesting to see.
Yes, and I have to do it when my wife ain't home. She's going to kick my ass. So, but it should be fun.
Especially watching that electric wheel go around and around.
I did duct tape over the smart meter. I don't want to see those numbers. It should still be fun, though.
Okay, last but not least is myself. I don't have a YouTube channel or anything like that. I think MacYak is kind of my YouTube channel right now. So I'm the one that actually does all the streaming for the group here from home here, because I actually have the highest bandwidth of internet. So that's why I do it here.
Show up.
Yeah. But I do some streaming on Twitch. If you go to my Twitch channel, you can watch me race a lot. I do a lot of iRacing over there. So you can watch me race around in circles, or sometimes turn it left and right, depending on how I feel. Most of the times it's turning left, but sometimes I turn right. So that's pretty much what I do. Huh? Well, I've known to do that too, or get hit into a wall by somebody else, So. Yeah. Anyways, but that's me. So I don't, like I said, I don't have a Patreon. I don't have a channel. I do this for the fun of it. In fact, MacYak, we don't even have Patreon. We don't have anything like that because us 6 guys decided to do this because we got on FaceTime, group FaceTime, and if you're new here, the reason why we do MacYak, we came up with this because what you saw today is what we used to do for about a month before we actually came up with MacYak. We would get on group FaceTime and just yak.
Yep. And we limit the stream to 2 hours, but when we're offline...
Oh, God. There's times in the day, we're like 6-7 hours, on group FaceTime. Yeah. So...
Our wives must love it because they keep us busy.
So, guys, you got anything else you want to say before we wrap this up?
Well, needless to say, thank you, Ken, Michael, and Collin for joining.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Of course. Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah. Anytime.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys showing up, and you guys are welcome to show up again at any time. Just tell us if you want to come back on.
Yeah, certainly.
All right, we'll do.
We do accept bribes.
And if you guys want to stick around after we sign off here, you can. We usually have a short, brief sayonara part.
Yes, we are now calling the After Yak.
Yeah, the After Yak.
Okay,
now,
nice
everyone else that's in our chat here, you are more than welcome to come into our Discord channel. We do have a Discord channel.
Somebody paste that in the YouTube chat.
It's already up there. It's already up there. All they got to do is look at it. But you go to our Discord channel. You can get in there. We talk. You can actually text. We have a couple of text channels where you can actually type in ideas for the next show. We are always looking for topics to talk about. So give us some topics. Anyways, make sure you like and subscribe, both YouTube and Facebook. We do have a Facebook page that's maintained by Rocky, of course. So go and check that out. Come and join us.
That extends to the individual Facebooks and Patreons and all that stuff from everybody here.
Yes.
Which Greg is going to get to now.
Yep. And
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, on a closing note for macOS Catalina, rest in peace dashboard.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
miss you already.
I don't.
I forgot. I was like, what?
Am I the only one who developed a widget for that?
I made widgets back in the day too.
Okay, good. I'm glad I'm not alone.
Like a widget.
Yeah.
Mine was useless. It was an image. That was it.
Yeah.
They did it because, come to think of it, a lot of the
I derailed us. I'm sorry.
Oh, kid, it's your fault.
Now to come on the after party.
Yeah, he has to stick around for the after party. See.
Yeah, I'm just happy the Mac Pro isn't dead.
Yeah,
that's all I wanted to say.
Yes.
Yep. Case closed.
Yeah. All right, guys. So check out the description and info for links. We're going to put links to all these guys, the guest channels on there, everything. So you guys go check them out, support them as well as us, and we appreciate you guys very much. Spread the word. Tell your friends about us. We're always looking for new viewers, and come and join us in Discord. And we'll see you guys later. You guys have a great day.
Distant future.
Bye.
Nice.